That's worth vomiting.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Core, now part of the larger PepsiCo family of companies. Congratulations on the merger. Everything went through, got approved. No monopolistic issues. Core is now a subsidiary of Pepsi. Not true at all.
Does that mean I still have to pay for Mountain Dew? They gonna provide that to me, or
Baja Blast only. That's it.
What's that? That's fine.
Oh, wait, I don't think I'm allowed to. Wait, is it Pepsi?
What is? Do you have Pepsi?
Wait, are we getting sponsored by Pepsi?
No, I'm teasing. It's all good.
Poe's like, wait a minute, great. No. What do we do?
No,
How
it
does
was not
this change
Coke.
my life?
It was Pepsi.
Yeah,
it was Pepsi, right?
It's just my dumb. It's just my dumb intro. So it's
no, it's fine. I want Lifetime Coke. It's Lifetime Pepsi. It's just if it's Coke, I might not be allowed. I might be branded a traitor by my fellow Canadians.
Oh, do they get mad? So they don't have any Coke bottling company or plants up there in Canada?
I don't know. It's just something I saw on TikTok. For all I know, they both come from the States. But there's some TikTok I watched that was like, I'm not buying. Look at all the Coke in the Costco. Or
no one's buying
the Coke. So I'm like, oh, I was like, really, soft drinks as well? Oh no!
I got in a big argument with a Canadian this week, and that never happens. I never get in fights with the Canadians, but I had this guy I basically did a post that said, "Hey, it's not. I promise, it's not us. It's this just who's in charge. We all love you, Canada. You're some of my favorite people in the world." And this guy says, "Doesn't matter. Now you're part of the enemy. Freaking, it's us against you." And you're just really going off. And I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be this way between you and me. Why are we roped into this? We don't have to be. We're not their headcanon. You and I could be pals over the border. Now you can't be a stand. There's no neutrality. And I'm like, all right, freaking Canada.
Is he like a listener, someone that you know, or was it just like a complete random?
It was a guy who follows me on Blue Sky, but I don't know from what. Okay. It could be shows. I have no idea. He might hear this now. I don't know.
Well, like a lot. This is why this stuff always gets concerning, because those of us with context and nuance understand, and then those of us who just see shapes and colors and respond accordingly go, oh, other country bad? Mm-hmm. Me hate other country.
Ooga
Me hate all things in other country. Be smarter than all other people. That's, and it's like, okay, guys. Yes, no, it's obviously.
What's great is someone's going to have a beef with your voice you just did. Somebody,
of course, because like you can't talk about this stuff without people who can just tell shapes and colors and not much else. like yes, like it's unfortunate. We're all interconnected now on the internet. So when you bring this shit up. I mean, we mostly don't talk about this stuff because we want everyone to have a good time, but also we want to have a good time, and people with poor cognitive abilities will argue about the dumbest shit ever.
I love that you keep going after these guys and going and what'd you say? Shapes and colors are all they can tell.
Yeah,
that's like good stuff. It's good stuff.
Nobody's stupid. But I'm telling you, there are stupid people out there.
Some of us are willfully stupid.
Nobody will cop to it. But yes,
sure.
I like America. Like Tom Grease said, you can come fishing anytime.
I'd love to fish up there. That'd be great.
Let's not fight. We disagree on some stuff, but let's be chill about it.
Yeah. I think we actually disagree on so little.
Well, the three of us probably agree on a lot, but I know. But what I'm saying is, our countries all have our own problems. So,
sure. Yeah, you guys got the poutine. We got the hurricanes.
I'll say this: I'm not buying Coke because a Canadian told me it had pee in it.
Oh right, yeah, your urethra.
Look, that actually doesn't come from Canadian. It comes from watching some Joe Rogan dumb.
Well, I found out from a Canadian.
I know.
I don't know what this anonymous Canadian source
Joe Rogan
was,
had some guy who wrote a book on the history of Coca-Cola, and he said urea was in it, and I took it and thought it. I took it as like, oh, that's super bad. I don't listen to that show anymore.
So. Remind me what is urea again? It's like pee, right?
It's something in your pee. It's a part of your pee.
Okay.
It's a chemical, the byproduct chemical, something that gets, output.
Yeah.
So, and they do put urea in the Coke, but it's made in a lab. Like the caffeine. The caffeine doesn't come from plants. The caffeine's like a glowing. I looked this up. There's like these glowing blue bricks of like caffeine that like a teaspoon will just like absolutely turbo kill a human.
Really?
They put that in your drink. Yeah, I mean, it is chemically manufactured. It's like methamphetamine pretty much, but I guess that's why Roberto Cristiano, is that his name? That soccer player? You know, the guy who pushed the Coke away when he sat down at the press conference?
Oh, that was his deal?
Ronaldo. That's why Ronaldo pushed it away and everyone was mad. But
I
also
forgot about
mad.
that. Well, I drank a Coke Zero cherry today for lunch. I'll be fine, I think. I think I'll be okay after that.
Whatever. I mean, meth addicts are people too.
Yeah, who are we to judge? We're not here to judge. But we are here to talk about games. Speaking of Canada, you could dig a hole down, come visit me. That's a terrible transition, but I'll tell you about this game. Jan. Sorry, dude, I get it wrong every time. He's from Finland. Gave me a copy of a game called, quote, A Game About Digging a Hole, unquote. I sent this to Beau earlier because the unique thing about it is it's a single developer. Took him 3 weeks to make this game, and it's now a top seller on Steam. And it just felt like proof of the whole concept of you can very quickly whip something together. And if you just hit the right note for enough people, it'll take off and you're on your way to be the next, Balaltro or what other.
I was tempted to buy it. All I read was the title and saw one picture of a hole. And I was like, I love digging holes, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to really capture that thing. Like, here's a tip. All you game developer wannabes out there, think about the stupid stuff you did as a kid.
Yeah.
And now pretend you can do it for real in a video game space.
Yeah. Just make a game.
And I guarantee you it will catch some attention because we all just remember that stupid stuff. Like when it was important, like, what are you doing at lunch? We have to go out and we have to dig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? I don't know, because that's what we have to do.
Right.
Because that's what we're going to go out and do. We're going to go out and we're going to get a stick and we're going to dig a hole on the playground, and we would come back in after recess and we would talk about it like it was our job and it was hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great. That's what that is the reason I think this thing took off, is there's something really primal and childhood about it. And I haven't cracked into it yet, but it's currently at 90% reviews. The reviews are just about 4,000 people. I did a little math. And it's all wrong because obviously reviews don't reflect actual sales. But if that's only the people that bought the thing, this guy's rich now. He's made a ton of money, and it's only a $5 game. Yeah, $4.99, and it's this huge hit, relative huge hit.
Someone go out there and make a game about finding an awesome stick, and then let you do really good things with the stick you find. And then please share the residuals with me for giving you the idea.
John beat me to the. As I was like, I got to come up with something stupid. Let me think. And then John had it immediately.
It's great though. We call it stupid, but think about a progression on some kind of stick. How do you make it cooler? What kind of stuff does the stick do?
You start with a base stick that you can just wave around, but then you get one that's bent, and it's like it can shoot. It's a gun stick.
Yeah.
You get one that's real big and gnarled, and you're like, this is a magic staff stick.
That's right. And then you're using gum to like attach something to it, and now it's a radio. Like, there's so many things you could do with your stick.
Yeah.
You could call it Stick. That'd be the name.
I found a stick.
I found a stick, the game.
Yeah, I found a stick.
Someone's going to do this and make a ton of money, and we're not going to get a dime. That's how this is going to go.
I feel like they should share.
Well, they should.
A little. I don't want like all of it, but like just a little.
Yeah, just a little. And then Joe and Beau here. I can't say our name.
Joe and Beau. Joe and Beau show.
Me and Beau and Joe. We'll get just a smaller percentage. John should get the bigger percentage. And then that person still gets most of it. So you take 70%. You give 30% to Steam. You keep 70%
John
for yourself.
Be the voice of the stick.
Exactly. You could be the stick, John. You could totally be the stick. All right, we're doing it. We're making this happen.
I do all the impressions. Elmo, the stick.
Our pal Shatterproof
Cartman
says
from South Park.
He says, "I want the stick armor DLC." That's fantastic, Shatterproof. Although it'd have to be relatively cheap. Like the original horse armor, famous horse armor, was what, like $3.99.
Stick armor is just bark on the stick.
Yeah, but it could be like I don't know, have a Marvel crossover and it'd be like an anti-antimum, or what the hell is that? What's it called?
Adamantium.
Adamantium.
Anti-Eminem.
Anti-M. smeared all
It's
over
what
that thing.
Dorothy got grafted to her bones to fight the Wicked Witch.
Yeah. You can put make it green. It's the Hulk. I mean, just look at Fortnite and now make your stick game accordingly. It'll be great. Battle Pass, except you call it what's a good name for a stick? Something pass. Brittle.
Paddle Pass?
Whittle Pass. Paddle Pass isn't bad.
You
Battle
guys,
Pass.
this game wasn't even made, and you're already looking for ways to ruin it.
See, this is why this happens.
We can't hold video game developers when the three of us can't sit here without immediately ruining modern video games. Look at us. We're already
There should be
doing
a
it. We've already
currency,
become the
like,
thing we hate.
Yeah.
The currency should be acorns. And
Oh, I like
How
that.
many currencies can we put in here? What DLC?
acorns, pine nuts, and
And we could all the time we could have at this company, we could have staff meetings. Get it? Staff meetings.
Staff meetings. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
And for lunch today, we're bringing
You
in
get staph infections too.
we're bringing in pot stickers for lunch today.
Okay.
I'm running out of
Okay.
ideas, guys. This game's gonna fail. It's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
because
it's not gonna fail.
you missed the beauty of a game about digging a hole where it was just a game about digging a hole.
Yeah.
I guarantee you this one guy didn't have a meeting.
No, he did not. You're probably right.
So apparently 14 days to make it or whatever.
Yeah, a little shy of that, or maybe a little over that. But yeah, real quick, he just had this idea and it stuck. And
That's how you introduced it to me. You're like, hey, speaking of a game actually pretty much made in a weekend, this game digging a hole.
that's it. We've proved it out. So everybody out there within the sound of our voice, make a game. You never know if you're going to be the next guy digging a hole, or the next. Well, it took him longer than 3 weeks, but you could be the next Stardew Valley or the next Balaltro. You could be a lot of things. You don't have to be.
I mean, what's
you know.
kind of nice about that game too is if you wanted to continue supporting it, you could like put new things to dig up too. You know.
Oh, I guarantee they will. He will. I think it's just a dude. But yeah, I got it. I'm going to be playing it.
But
And
the curious thing about his story, he's actually been working on a game for like years. By the way, he took a break to make this one. So this is that whole like spend 3 years to make your magnum opus, nobody gives a shit. Spend 10 minutes on a dumb game and become a millionaire.
Yeah,
like
kind of.
yeah.
I think there's something to that. Like the most, I mean, this is a much smaller example, but my most successful show at the time anyway was starting the instance when I just thought everybody else's was kind of lame. I didn't like the other WoW shows. So I was like, I'll just do mine. And then that took off like crazy. And I didn't expect it, didn't see it coming. I was busy working on other stuff I thought would be bigger. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So
I think it's true of like music and stuff, like games. A lot of stuff you're just like, oh, it's bad, but it's like because it's history that determines victors.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a lot of stuff's really good. It's just what people respond to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that.
In a way.
Well, we've all learned a little something there about the life and how to handle it. But let's see if we can learn more about what Blizzard's doing, because we have some news. So I know John was real excited about this when it dropped.
Well, what a segue. I think it's fine. I will point out, hey, before we get into this, I just want you all to know, Scott's the reason for this. If you get mad about anything any of the hosts, but especially me, in this upcoming segment, I will have you know that Scott said, hey guys, what if we talked about Overwatch? And I told him, I got nothing nice to say about Overwatch.
Which made me decide.
His response was, good.
Perfect, I think is the word I used.
If you don't like anything that's about to come out of my mouth, emails to Scott Johnson. I don't want to hear about him. He was warned. You've been warned.
Yeah, if you want to complain to me. I'm totally fine with it, because people like Saucy John, and I think this is a great way to do it, because I know you have thoughts. That's the one thing, is you've definitely got things to say about it. But also, Beau's been playing it on the other side of this, so I think that makes for a nice little sandwich.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I've been playing Overwatch all week.
Yeah, you've been busy in the OW, as all the kids are saying.
Nobody says
No one says that at all. Nobody says it.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll start saying it now, Scott. It's the real,
You're more likely
You're
more likely to hear my mom say Riz in some context. It's never going to happen. So let's talk about it. This is what they're doing. They're making some pretty big, some might say radical overhauls to the game of Overwatch 2. It might even make it 2 finally, and not just feel like Overwatch 1 with a couple of new characters. Anyway, big changes. Let's just talk about some of them, or we'll talk about all of them, but we'll do it in brief. Third person mode is a thing that's coming.
No.
You know what that is, Beau? That is a direct response to Marvel Rivals and their third-person camera showing your skins.
Yeah, but it's not a third-person mode. There's no third-person mode. There is a Stadium, which will let you play in third-person.
Well, that's a good point.
This is not
clarify that.
This is. It's a little unless you're making a joke, which I appreciate. But
sure.
There's no mode where they're like, let's just compete with the Rivals and make it third person for the sake of being third person.
Yeah,
that's not it. No, so there's no that one's wrong. No third person.
They also can't do that without, like, I actually think that third person is. I would prefer it had it always been there. Like, I like it.
So
I like it better than first person in games where I'm encouraged to always be looking at my cool skins, and that to me to see my cool skins. I can't be in first person. I see my gun, but that's about it. Yeah.
A little farther down, you put studio map with the round-based system. That's kind of incorrect as well. It's Stadium game mode.
What I write? Oh, I meant Stadium, not studio.
Yeah. So I rewrote this. So yeah. Let's. So they're adding a game mode called Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the biggest news, but we'll just, since we're on this particular topic, there's going to be like an extra brawl-like mode of Stadium where you can basically, there's like 7 rounds, so like think of 7 maps in a match, but they're going to be faster than normal. And it's a roguelike. Like, you can get mods, like basically go to the MOBA shop between rounds and you can upgrade your character in insane ways.
These are the perks they're talking about, right?
No, Perks is in the main
Perks is separate.
PvP system. So Stadium is a game mode that basically this lets you go into third person. All right, but it's meant to be like crazy hoo-ha town where you're just like buying mods between rounds to upgrade your characters in crazy way. Like, for example, when Reaper goes into ghost mode, he can fly.
Right.
Which like he can't do in the base game. Stuff like that.
Right.
So, and this game lets you go into the Stadium mode, lets you go into third person as well, and it's meant to be like how crazy your characters, I think by round 7 are supposed to be like super broken, basically.
So they're basically it's basically a mode that's like arcadey and goofy, and it's one of those modes.
Yeah, it's this is more gimmicky. This isn't the main core PvP. This is like a gimmicky mode, but it feels like an experiment that could, if it was really successful, fundamentally change the way Overwatch is played. Potentially, that's the way they've sort of shipped it. So it's like halfway between evolution of competitive and halfway just a brawl, just a crazy brawl, and who knows where it's going to land, really. But it sounds cool. Yeah, that's Stadium mode, and that will allow you in that mode to. They're also experimenting with looking in the third person camera for that.
And will that be the mode that is like is it going to play like a MOBA? That's what they're aiming for here. It's like third person.
No, it's still like PvP. It's still the team-based shooter. There's no like creep or anything like that to shoot and stuff.
All right.
It's not really.
You still have you got to stay on that. What do they call it? John loves it so much. The
payload. Yeah, you're still going to play Overwatch. Heaven
payload
forbid
maps.
you're not.
There are a lot less. There's a lot less payload maps in the game. Though.
Yeah,
like the robot map is like it functions like a payload, but it pushes back and forth, so it's more of a tug and war thing.
Wow.
And then there's just there's the capture the point map. I can't remember what the game mode's called. But there's some very different stuff. If you haven't played in a while, there are some new game modes.
Yeah, it's been a while for me.
Yeah, so the main changes to competitive are the MOBA style perk system.
Okay.
Basically, in Heroes of the Storm, if you recall a game we used to cover.
I do. That was the game this game killed, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
I don't think. I think Blizzard killed it, but the 3 or 4 selections of talents you'd get every 4-ish levels is coming to Overwatch. Except there's only going to be 3 levels. So at a certain point in the match, you hit level 2, and you can pick a minor perk. And then you'll hit level 3 and you can pick a major perk.
Okay.
And some of them are pretty neat. They showcase a couple of them. Like one of them is just like upgrading Anna's basic attack damage to make her a full-on sniper character. So you give her a bit of the Kerazim treatment, and she can already hurt pretty bad if you're good at shooting with her. So that's kind of huge.
Yeah.
Farah, instead of her repulsor blast shooting away, it actually vacuums everyone up into a section so you can ult in their face after pulling them all in together.
That seems risky. Like you're going to create a way for people to rather have that ultimate work permanently, right? Does that seem? I mean,
I don't think any of them affect the ultimates, but I mean, we haven't seen all of them yet. We only saw very few. For example, Torbjorn, one of his upgrades is to throw his turret onto a wall.
Oh,
like onto the side of a wall. So instead of it just being on the ground all the time, you might throw it like on a roof or like a ceiling and surprise some people. I don't really play Torbjorn, but that's maybe Torbjorn people are excited about that.
Sure.
So they're going to mod the game in interesting ways. I think, it doesn't sound big, but when you're playing it, obviously you kind of know what a lot of the heroes are capable of doing. And so changing it up in this way is going to, increase like skill requirements to understand what they've picked and how to play around it. And it's interesting. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Overall, do you think that the stadium mode, just to stick on that for a second, will that just end up being? I worry. It sounds cool, like really cool on the surface of it, but it also sounds like, but it's also not the main part of the game, and so it's going to be deprecated regardless. It's just
they're not going to like they're not going to take a torch to like their bread and butter core gameplay. So that's not what this is.
Yeah.
So it's an additional mode, but sometimes you put an experiment out there in an additional mode and it takes off. So that's kind of what this is. This could end up being the mode, when they look at the logins, what are people playing the most? Well, they're playing Stadium. They love Stadium. Well, then Stadium could have a future as the way people play. I think it's going to be too insane though, because see, the perks in the main game are very subtle differences, like Farah bringing people together with a repulsor blast. Like it's not on the level that Stadium is doing, where the mods are meant to do. You get 7 modded upgrades or something. There's a whole shop full of shit.
Yeah,
and you can like make your character stupid crazy. Like it's hard to describe it. You just watch the thing. I don't really have any examples off the top of my mind, but you'll be doing like 300% more damage with things and stuff like that. Like it's supposed to be crazy.
All right, let's do a quick vibe check. John, Stadium mode. Anything jumping out, making you want to go, yeah, okay, tell me more about Stadium mode.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. Just a vibe check. Just checking, right, as we go here. I want to see if any of these like jump out and
sure.
get you.
I'll say this. The perk system from Heroes of the Storm being in the game is a cool idea.
Yeah.
It is in a game I like called Heroes of the Storm. So I think it's a good system.
All right. Sweet. How whether
when
or not
implemented in games I want to play.
Right. It may not drive you back, but you're just saying you're glad, they got a thing in there that you like.
Technically, I've never played Overwatch 2.
That's a good point. You haven't.
I mean,
but you kind of have. Yeah.
On one hand, yeah. On the hand of there is no Overwatch 2, I've played it.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, I've never played Overwatch 2.
All right, this is good.
It isn't like the game's been out so long, like probably when you played there was the GOATS meta or whatever, and so that meta is actually coming back as Overwatch Classic mode that was also announced in this pile of stuff. So they're doing like WoW Classic but for Overwatch, which is really weird because the GOATS meta, as far as I know, it sounds like it's good, GOATS, but like actually I think people really hated it because it was like 3 tanks, 3 healers, and nobody died.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I don't know why they're bringing him back.
Why are they calling it GOATS?
Like, guys, guess what? The GOATS meta's back. And I'm like, did people complain for like a year like that?
No, there's a reason they changed it and fundamentally changed it. This wasn't a mode they added to the game. They were like, we're getting rid of the way this game plays and we're changing it.
We don't got to kitchen sink this presentation, guys. But anyways, I don't know. I tried playing some Overwatch Classic and I guess, it's fine. It's neat to check out. I played a game. I'm like, this is what Overwatch was like at launch.
Yeah. You remember those days.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then I just moved back to playing regular Overwatch because it's better.
Yeah. So, no, I get it.
It's not
all right.
like WoW Classic. It doesn't hit the same at all. It's just like the same game. But
so the MOBA perk system, though, Stadium, I for some reason my brain wants to just assign that all to the Stadium mode, but it's not.
Two different modes. Think of one. Think of like one as just like the game Overwatch with the talent system from Heroes.
Okay.
And with only 3 levels. Stadium is like MOBA. Stadium is the MOBA, like has like a shop between rounds, and I call it more. It looks more roguelike to me because there is no creep. Like calling any of it a MOBA is like wrong.
Yeah,
it's just borrowing some of those ideas. There's no creep. There's no macro that you have to do in that way.
Yeah,
it's not a strategy game.
All the hallmarks of that are not there. You're saying it's just some of the systems.
Yeah. It's just Stadium's like crazy wacky time, but like could potentially turn into something serious depending on how people respond to it. That's the way they seem to present it. Like they weren't presenting it like, you know how they present brawls?
Mm-hmm.
Like, guys, this isn't the serious game mode, but what if there were 10 Novas in a match?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like it's a gimmick. I see what you're doing here. You're trying to bring people in to check out the game by doing something zany.
Yeah.
This actually seems like they're trying to just appeal to a different type of gamer who might come back to Overwatch to try a zany mode like Stadium.
The Jon types. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Just keep trying to get Jon.
I want to rile him up, I just want to get him going. But
yeah, I think he's out the moment he hears the word over. And I think over with the W, and like he's completely like, I'm angry.
Yeah. Overwatch is a pretty good title. I should have gone with that.
I genuinely respect that they feel that they can put this many things in the game without feeling the need to call it Overwatch 3. They've certainly upped the number for less. So, kudos to them.
In fact,
maybe by not making it a sequel, maybe they'll actually put this content in the game.
I think I figured out how they did the math, because while they're putting stuff in that would qualify for a part 3, they're also putting equal parts of part 1 back into part. So I think it cancels each other out. That's why it stays at Overwatch 2, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. They do have 2 new characters coming though. That's newness, right? In all of this, like,
but that has nothing to do with the sequel. New characters come regardless of.
Well, that's true. Right? Yeah, that's a good point.
It's both a box game you buy, but also a free to play game. And who knows what 3 will be? Maybe it'll be both.
Maybe they can reinvent their monetization strategy for Overwatch 3 and then add the monetization strategies of 1 and 2 back to it as a feature in a later update.
Oh my
This is where Overwatch is hilarious, because it's now a free-to-play game without loot boxes, and Overwatch 1 was a pay for this game and also loot boxes. Which usually it's one or the other, and in both cases it's like poorly over monetized or under monetized, because I assume if you're going free to play you need loot boxes.
Well, they're adding them in here. They're coming back.
That's what we're alluding to. They're coming back, and well, I kind of hate it, but whatever.
Okay, let me ask you this.
That's where I'm like, well, it's a free to play game. Like, name a free to play game that doesn't do weird currencies and loot boxes. Even Heroes has loot boxes.
Can you buy loot boxes? Because I thought that was like outlawed in certain territories.
You can, I believe, you can buy loot boxes. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, maybe not.
I thought that was all part of the EU lawsuit.
Maybe. Yeah, so you can buy everything in the game in Heroes. So maybe you're right. It's been a long time since I've really played a game with loot boxes in it, to be honest with you. I haven't scrutinized or been a part of that world in a long time.
It's like Hearthstone. You got to be able to earn it, but they'll look, I'll say this, and I don't actually it's easy to say, loot boxes, they suck, but there is something to opening something and finding something inside and being surprised about how cool it is, or saying, oh, not this one, but maybe the next one. We do it in Diablo and Path of Exile every 5 seconds. Everything's popping open with something you want to see. But so there's something to that.
Sucks. Nothing feels worse than when you're like, oh shit, my loss protection is kicked in, I'm getting my legendary, and it's a skin you don't want. Or it's a legendary skin for a hero you already have 3 legendary skins for.
Oh, that's true.
Like, I know everyone has that experience of opening a random box and feeling awesome about it, but in the long run you won't if you play a lot, and in the short term you won't get a lot of the good rewards because it's designed to make you feel worse.
Yeah.
Loot boxes are designed to make you feel bad. That's why they're full of voice lines and portraits. You can only equip 1 portrait, yet you'll get 256 portraits. And like, you're supposed to feel disappointed. Like with the same intentionality that you're meant to feel good about getting something cool, you're 200x given these like microaggressions where you're meant to feel bad. That's why you feel good. And it's like it's a whole game that you've now entered into that isn't really a game. It's just being exploited by like as a lab rat. So sorry, Scott, but no, there'll be no defending loot boxes.
Not today. All right.
Not today. Like, I think this is a bad move overall. I like the current system of a battle pass and having cool shit. And if you want something cool, get your credit card out and buy it. Like it's a shop. That's what it's there for. But they do these things when they realize there's sick people out there who probably asked for it, because sometimes when we like a game, we go, take my money. Here, take my money. Like, who cares? People gave Endless Zone Zero like 50 million on launch week just
that's
for
true.
nothing.
Yeah.
For nothing. Like, it's just 99% of what you gave your money for was a ball. They have these things called W engines that are just balls. And what you want is a hero.
What do you do with a ball? What's the ball
You
for?
play with it. You can throw it
you-
in a net. You can hit it with a bat.
Yeah.
You equip it on your guy, your the W engines, and of course, to get stronger W engines, you need like 3, 1-star balls to make a 2-star ball, and then you need 3 2-star balls to make a 3-star ball. But it's just crap. It's just junk, and of course, the stats are randomized. So keep buying boxes till you get a ball that has the stat, and it's like.
You lost me a W engine.
Engage in these systems, you hate yourself. Like, you have to sit down and have a talk with yourself and like decide like you need to spend your time on better things. I'm sorry, I know we have gacha lovers in the community, but you are harming yourself, and they are harming you with these like monetized mechanics. I'm sorry, and that's what loot boxes are. This is a bad move, but probably looks like a good move financially for them. They're like, man, we're not making as much money as when we were exploiting people emotionally. Let's go back to Vegas is onto something. Let's go back to that shit.
So when
there'll be a lot of people who defend it. So whatever. Have your loot boxes.
When they did them in the past, you could buy a bunch of loot boxes, and I think that's where they got in trouble and where the EU stuff came down, and they couldn't do it in all the territories anymore, and that's why they pulled it.
It might be free, but like this whole psychological game you've described, like. I've spent decades thinking about it. Like, obviously, if you're in your teens or your 20s playing this stuff, you might be like, whatever, like, boomer, like, who's thought about these things too much, who's had existential crisis and anxiety issues, who's lived and thought, come out the other end of this stuff. Like, there's probably a lot of people who just don't care. And, but I think it is a net negative, like, completely. And, even as a free thing, even if you can't buy them, I like the battle pass. Just like currently, just shows you what you get for rewards, and they're great. I was happy with the current system. I'm not going to quit Overwatch over it. I've played Heroes in spite of loot boxes as well, but I will never compliment any company's implementation of randomized rewards. I don't think it's good.
All right. Well, this isn't going to get any sauce out of John, so we'll try the next one here. How about this?
Oh, you don't think I have an opinion on loot boxes?
I'll bet you do, but I think we already. Well, maybe we don't know him. Lay it on us.
Scott, no, to be honest, you've heard enough.
Right, let me tell you.
I took all the air out of the room with what
I watched Squid Game season 2.
Yeah.
This is going to be a slight spoiler, but nothing major.
All right, cool.
And there's a scene, and I think it's like the first episode, where a guy goes and he buys a ton of bread, and he buys a ton of lottery tickets, like scratcher tickets, right?
Okay.
And then he goes to a park where a bunch of homeless people congregate, and he gives them an option, and he says, you can take the piece of bread, or you can take the scratcher ticket. And one by one, every single one of them takes the scratcher ticket, and one by one, every single one of them loses. And then he proceeds to dump all the extra bread that he has at the end on the ground and stomp on it, because they all go, "Wow, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?"
Yeah.
This feels like Blizzard just we're offering you scratcher tickets now as a patch feature. That's what it feels like. It feels like, hey guys, we're back. We're gonna do this game again. Like it just. Like, and they it's just a weird thing to be like, even if you like it, and I know a lot of Overwatch players like reminisce about the days when it was just loot boxes. Like there are a lot of people who like that because they could just throw the money at it and power through it. And who knows if it's going to be the same way with these again. So like it might please nobody. The people who miss it might not be getting what they want, and the people who didn't want it might be getting it. So, but at the end of the day, like they're sitting there going, guys, loot boxes is like a video feature, and it just seems really funny to me. From the outside looking at it, I'm just like, wow, really? That's like a back of box feature we're putting into the game.
We shouldn't be surprised. The whole reason we got that trip out to Irvine for Heroes 2.0 was because of how exciting it was to put things in a random JPEG and have other JPEGs burst out of them. Right? Like that's like it's because remember, it's not even really a box. It's just some JPEGs and animations. It's a bunch of GIFs basically.
Yeah.
It's really the most. I feel like it's one of those things that has just infected Blizzard in many of their games, and the games that have it seem to get love, like RNG Stone and Overwatch 2, and the games that don't have it, like Heroes and StarCraft, it's like, we can't exploit people. Why would we spend time with these properties? And it sucks.
Yeah. Well, I know somebody out there is excited about it. I don't know who they are or why you're excited, but write in and tell us why you think loot boxes coming back are a smart thing. And is there any particular way you'd like to see them come back that we're not thinking of here on the air? Okay. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear it.
And don't forget, it's good to get help too if you feel like you're having a problem with loot boxes.
Yeah. Are you struggling with loot boxes?
Betterhelp.com or whatever. Yeah.
Gamers, we heard you, is what they're saying. You like loot boxes. Freya and Aqua are heroes coming soon. Freya, we know a little more about. Aqua, we haven't seen yet, but Freya is a DPS character with a crossbow. And Aqua, I don't know. I'm guessing healer, if I had to guess.
Aqua, they said, was a Chinese character who's Chinese nationality, who is a water bender of some kind.
Ooh, healer though, right? Probably.
Didn't say.
Sounds like one, doesn't it? Working with water. It's like,
you hear water and you're like, they couldn't possibly be damage.
Yeah. I just don't think of I don't think of DPS when I think of water powers, but
yeah. And they've really been filling out the tank and support rosters now, like compared to old when you had 20 DPS and 5 tanks and 6 supports. When you play nowadays, you have a huge choice of supports and tanks, which is really nice now.
Yeah.
So I think probably they're focusing more on those two roles. So we're getting our DPS, and then it's not going to be a DPS. So I assume healer as well. Oh, by the way, on the subject of, well, we're talking new heroes and stuff like that, but I got to tell you, next epic skin is the Zenyatta skin, or mythic skin. It looks awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, some of the new skins look real cool. That's why I thought the third person thing might be a push for just also that, even if it's just its own mode, for people to go, oh, yeah, I can see this thing I spent $24 on. And not just
maybe,
my hands.
But you're also just seeing the back of it. So
that's true, I guess. But that's true. And
better than none of it. You're right, but also isn't the back of it better than 0% of it?
I mean, I think.
Yeah, I guess. It's a first person shooter. If you third person something, it's like it's a different game mode.
Kinda, not really though. Like when I play the Marvel one, it plays like an FPS. Like it doesn't feel.
It does play like an FPS, but it is crappy, in comparison.
Well, yeah. But I'm not sure that's because of the perspective, right? That could be.
It's true. You put a thing over something and aim it, and either way, it's how it works. So, no, what's the difference? You're right.
Yeah. And I'm just saying they're never going to be able to stuff that genie back in the bottle. If they were going to do that, they should have started like that. And I'm sure they had their reasons in 2014 not to.
Well, it's not that they're selling skins; it's that they're selling in some cases $100 skins. Like it's the audacity of their asking price is probably pushing them to feel like they need to entice people.
Mm-hmm. Please pay us $100 so your friends and enemies can see the skin that you spent money on.
Yeah,
and who knows? Maybe you'll get play of the game and get to see it. Who knows?
You might, if you get play of the game out of 12 of you. Is it still 6-on-6, or that's just a mode that they put back? It's still 5-on-5 on the main mode, right?
It's 5-on-5 currently. The classic is 6-on-6.
That's what
classic mode, right?
That's right, where you get your 2 tank meta and nobody died, basically. or 2 heroes, 2 tanks. Yeah.
And on the subject of skins, other big news is that Tom will be happy about this. They're partnering again with Le Seraphim for another promotional deal.
Yeah. He loves that K-pop all-girl band. Big fan.
Yeah, it's Le Seraphim that he likes, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
He drove all the way from LA to Anaheim, which doesn't sound like much. It's like a 6-hour drive. He drove all the way there for that part of that BlizzCon only. Bought BlizzCon tickets just so he could go to see Le Seraphim do their thing and then get out of there. That was his whole thing.
K-pop netizens they're crazy.
It's real, man. It's a real deal.
They're standing groups.
Bunch of whack it. Just kidding. You guys are great. All right. Well, that's all we have to say there. John, any final thoughts on this big move from Blizzard to broaden the appeal of the venerable Overwatch franchise?
Not really. I hope that if you play Overwatch and you like the game, these changes are fun for you. Mm-hmm. You certainly deserve to be given something of quality from the people who make Overwatch because they haven't treated you well so far. So, a little TLC from them is probably well deserved. And I hope you find it. And I hope you find happiness. Mm-hmm. You will not get any reports on it from me.
Okay. Jon Beau, yes? You had something there?
Yeah, there's other details. There's other good stuff, actually. Probably it wouldn't rise to the level of what we talk about, but we missed a few big things.
What do you got?
Hero bans in competitive.
Oh,
That's never been
yeah.
a thing in this game.
Map bans,
map
too.
Voting.
Yeah.
So those are I love that because I've been thinking I should play competitive and playing so much I probably should start playing competitive. So I was happy to hear that they're going to add that.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to go for it? And I don't know.
I mean, I've been playing a lot, but I mean, who knows? It's not like I'm not planning on being an Overwatch main. I'm just really enjoying it. But yes, sometimes I think I need a more competitive game, so I might start dipping my toe.
That new big WoW patch coming out on the 25th of this month, and we're back to raiding on that Friday.
Retail's ramping up, and I kind of want to get a bit of time in with SOD because all the raids are out and stuff. It would be kind of good to play a bit of SOD before.
Yeah. More on that this week on the instance. Bobby and I will be getting together talking about what to expect from all that goblin stuff. Another thing John is so stoked about.
Are you still tanking this
goblin stuff?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, right, because it's a goblin.
Yeah, it's a goblin thing.
Undermined or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's gonna be car racing. It's gonna be awesome.
I am definitely tanking again. I think maybe Bobby and Tanner are swapping.
Tanner. I think Bobby and Tanner are swapping. I'm always volunteering as alternate in case one of you guys are sick. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
And also, Scott, I heard your comment. I don't have anything mean to say about World of Warcraft.
No, just goblins.
I'm not playing it, but I don't have anything mean to say.
No, you just don't like goblins. You don't like any of that goblin shit, right?
I like goblins.
Oh, who am I thinking
great.
of?
They're from Jersey. They like to blow stuff up.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why I was citing that.
Gnomes.
I don't either. I hate the gnomes.
Kind of suck.
Yeah,
but
for some reason, I thought you had a specific beef with. I'm thinking of somebody else. Then who am I thinking of?
No,
somebody really dislikes goblin stuff.
Goblins are fine, and I'm fine with WoW. It is in my list of games that I'm okay with hating on.
Yeah.
Overwatch, if you couldn't tell, is also in that club.
Sure.
But I think WoW deserves a lot of praise. Again, it's not one I'm actively playing right now, but I think they have done a lot past couple expansions to serve their audience, which is what I like to see from games. So.
Well, I'll just keep making bad assumptions about things you don't like through the rest of the episode.
I feel like for John, WoW is like an old friend you're having a disagreement with, but you just flat out hate Overwatch.
Yeah.
He's the neighbor He's your neighbor that you wish you could fire a nuclear rocket at.
WoW is that friend that you outgrew. It was like, oh yeah, we were really good buddies for a long time, and then I met somebody that was just cooler, and
you got married and had kids, and
moved on. It's fine. Overwatch was like, oh yeah, we hung out one time at a party, but then it turns out they suck. They lied about what they do for a living.
Yeah.
They're just awful. They probably killed another friend of mine, but some people are like, we don't know. They weren't convicted.
No, they never went to trial, but
yeah, they look, just because you've never seen HOTS ever again. We don't know that they killed them.
No, we don't know. Mm-hmm. It seems it's a cold case to them, but we still have our We have our conspiracies about it. Well, anyway, tell us what you think at home, 801-471-0462, or email us at talktothecore@gmail.com. Do you think Overwatch deserves another chance to become the true 2 it was meant to be? Or not?
I think, I mean, do you think it's going to unseat Marvel Rivals? Because it doesn't matter how many times Beau says Marvel Rivals sucks. The numbers say otherwise.
I don't think it will. I think Marvel Rivals right now is having a moment, and it is sustaining that moment. I'm actually surprised how well it's sustaining it. And I think it's...
Well, we don't know Overwatch numbers.
Well, we don't. That's the problem, right? Is they're not as transparent about that. Or, well,
right.
we do know how those Overwatch numbers look in comparison to the numbers of Marvel Rivals in Steam. We see those charts, and Steam is but one
Overwatch
platform.
Is also like mostly negative in Steam, and yet when I log in, it doesn't. The games are quick. Like there's a healthy population of people playing.
Like, what's the current leaderboards? Like, I'm guessing they're still like number 2 or 3 Rivals right now in terms of most people online playing right this second, and I don't think Overwatch is in the top 10. So I'm just saying, I think that they've got a problem.
But nobody logs into Twitch. Like that's what I'm saying.
No,
like,
no, not Twitch. Just not Twitch.
Not Twitch. Nobody logs into Steam to play Overwatch. Like except like the biggest noobs. I feel like why would anyone launch that game from Steam? That's
well,
crazy to me.
I mean, why not though? Like if they,
yeah, but you can also play Marvel Rivals on other platforms.
Yeah, why is that bad to launch?
Numbers,
yeah.
Like I think it's comparable.
I
don't think it's 1-to-1, but I think if you think Marvel Rivals isn't trouncing Overwatch in terms of numbers, I think you're drunk on something.
It probably is, but I mean, I just don't. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I also know that that more people play Blizzard games than you'd think. And so assuming just based on some numbers you're seeing out there would be incorrect. And this is somewhat based on maybe, wink, wink, nudge, nudge stuff. But like, I just never want to fully, people often dead game Blizzard games. And then, it's shocking to find out how not dead their game.
Well, I don't think it's dead by any stretch, but I also know that if they want to compete with Rivals, they're going to have to compete where Rivals is, and where Rivals is on the PC anyway is on Steam, and it's on consoles. So is Overwatch, but because we don't have access to any of those numbers, and we don't have access to BattleNet numbers, like if Blizzard would share us those, that'd be great, and then we could see. But it's telling that they don't talk about that at all. Instead, we're getting news about an overhaul, which tells me not desperation, but it tells me that they are reacting to market and making adjustments so that they can stay relevant. And nothing wrong with that. Everybody does that.
A good metric to go by, at least for esports in particular. This doesn't work for all games, but it does work for esports that have a ongoing scene of people. The viewership on Twitch is about 5 or 6x Rivals in the favor of Rivals than it is for Overwatch.
Yeah,
there's about like 10K viewers right now, concurrents, and there's like 60K for Rivals. So,
right,
yeah, I mean that's how shooters go. People do move on to the next thing. If anything, Overwatch 2 is like such a big outlier for that genre because those games usually last a year.
Oh yeah,
battle royales have lasted a little longer for popularity, but I don't know, for team-based shooter, it's done pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. It's still the one you think of too, and they deserve credit. The credit.
I don't like. Here's what I think. I think, like for sure, Rivals, like all games in these genres, like if they're new, they're definitely more popular. Rivals will have its day at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the long run, who knows? Like in a year or two, like it's going to take a bit of time for that to burn out. If it does, I just think mechanically, personally, Overwatch feels better to play.
I agree with that.
And I don't have a thing for Marvel properties where I'm like, oh, I need to play the shooter that has Marvel characters in it. Like I don't give a shit. Like I want to play the game that feels better, but that's my tastes are not reflected by most people. So I understand why people might not relate to my sentiment. Because for me, when I play Rivals, I play with Crofted a lot. I'm like, do you want to play Overwatch or Rivals? He's like, yeah, Rivals. I'm like, all right, let's play Rivals. And then for me, it's a gateway drug back to Overwatch. And I'm like, man, Rivals is fun, but it ain't no Overwatch. Let me play Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like I'm always, whenever I'm in Rivals, I'm like, this game's like a bad Overwatch. That's how I think of it. Sorry, not sorry, but it's like that's how I feel about Rivals. It's not as good. And yeah,
I tend to agree. Mechanically, it's not as good. I agree. I think the new and shiny though has a big role in this, and I don't blame them for trying to adjust to get people's minds back on Overwatch. But we'll see what happens. The future is now. All right. Well, that was one thing. How about this? Whoops. This right here. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Other news of note, Avowed is out today. I could not be more excited about this.
Sort of out today.
Well, sort of out today.
It's
right?
sort of out today.
What is the thing? So 11...
If you bought the special extra money edition, or if you have Game Pass and you paid more... So this is what I did with it, because I had some concerns about Avowed.
Yeah.
It was definitely getting some questionable attention, but it was from a lot of people that it's like, sometimes they get on a little hate train. And so I was like, I'm a little uncertain about it. Watching the videos of it, I know it was something that I talked a lot about was when we watched videos, I would say like, man, combat feels real floaty. And then they acknowledged that and they were like, that's something we really want to work on. So it doesn't look like you're just swinging your sword at something and it's causing damage.
Right.
But I had concerns and I didn't want to spend $80, $90 to find out if my concerns had merit or not. So the way it works is if you have Game Pass, you can pay for the upgrade to the expensive version, which means you spend, I think it's like $23 or something like that. And then you get, as long as you continue to have your Game Pass sub, you get the ultimate edition of the game. So instead of being out, $90 on Steam, you're out $23 on the Xbox store, and you can play it early. So that's basically what it is. If you have the more expensive version, you can play it today. If not, I think you have to wait. I think it's like 5 days.
18th,
and then it comes out.
Yeah, 18th. So this is basically this is what Civ 7 did. Same idea.
Yeah, it's sort of out today. I played it for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I blew a fuse in the house. I don't think related to Avowed.
No.
Not ready to throw Avowed into that one yet, but I don't know if I play it again and it happens again, maybe it is Avowed that did it. But I played until all the power went out and I couldn't play anymore, which was basically enough time to make a character as quickly as I could for me, and then start going through the tutorial. I got in one little fight. My mom got scared, but I will say that they have done a pretty decent job of giving the combat a little more heft. It's a little weird. The game does a little stutter, and it uses the rumble functionality for this too. If you're playing with controller, where you hit and the game will give you a little rumble feedback, and the enemy will flash, and there will be almost like a little stutter when you hit an enemy. And as silly as it sounds, it's a little jarring because it's not something that you expect, and it's a little weird to see, but it does give the game a little heft when you're hitting an enemy, as opposed to what we saw in a lot of those early videos where it just looked like they were wagging their sword in front of an enemy and the enemy was going, "Oh, I'm dying." And it didn't look very good. Yeah. So I think they have done a lot to address that, which was my main concern, but I can't speak too much about the game itself because like I said, I wasn't even out of the tutorial when all this happened. It seems like it's going to be an interesting world. Seems like it could be an interesting story. Like it did a very good job of kind of setting up what you're doing, why you're there. I already got to see some of the RPG mechanics come into play. Looking at the reviews of the game, it looks like it's got a broad range. But it seems like maybe the word on the street is that this is a very solid for what this is, but maybe not pushing the genre forward. And depending on what you want from it, if you want something that's like next Skyrim, it seems like this isn't going to do that. But if you want like another Skyrim, this is maybe more in line of what if what I want is an RPG made by Obsidian Entertainment.
Those are my only needs.
Seems like maybe you will like this game.
Okay, I'm in then. Because I remember, okay, so when Outer Worlds came out, similar criticisms. This won't replace Fallout New Vegas. They were famous for making that. This is not the next Mass Effect. Like lots of comments like that, right?
Yeah.
But time has held up for that thing, and people really are fond about Outer Worlds. I definitely was. I loved it. I beat it twice. All I need is another Obsidian take on a thing. That's good enough for me. So I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I'll be playing it.
It seems like it's gonna fall into that kind of territory. Like, if you want a role playing game, first person role playing game, magic swords, sneaking around, all that stuff. This is gonna be one of those. But again, it's not gonna be revolutionary. I don't think anybody's going to play this and be like, this has changed everything. I think it seems like it's solid.
You probably like the fact that it's, I know how you are with color sometimes. Games don't have enough color in them. This game's very colorful and,
Yeah, I think the look is pretty good. I'm still finding out where I need to set it graphically.
Yeah.
Because I immediately got in and started goofing with graphic settings, and I turned on something that didn't look good. I was in the character creator. I was like, why does this look like garbage? I had to back out, and I cranked everything way up to beyond what it's set by default, which I don't know if my computer's ready for or not, but it still seemed to run, so maybe. And then it looked better. So might have to play with that a little bit. But in terms of color, I'm happy to be playing a game that has color in it. It's very nice.
Yeah. They make their latest things have been very colorful. Beau, is this on your radar at all? We've talked about the game, but
no, not really.
Not really into it.
I like the developer, but it doesn't look appealing to me. I guess hasn't really it did at first when it was like, oh, Skyrim, but with colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just. I think right now I'm going through a thing. There's so many role playing games and they all look good, but also not good, and they're not appealing, I guess I should say. So
maybe we're getting
the exact same game, but they put a 2 at the end of it.
Oh shit!
Not do anything for you.
Exact same game as
what it is, but they called it Avowed 2.
Yeah, put a 2 in front or behind it. That wouldn't help.
No, that's still. I'm just trying to understand where the metric is. So that's fine.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time playing Final Fantasy. It's just I've got plenty to do, and I'm having a hard time getting to playing specifically role playing games or adventure games. I want to play esports right now and stuff. I need to be I need Zen.
I get it.
And
it's the right. You're in the right mood. We got to be in the right mood for the right game. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just. Guys, it's not just role playing games. I don't think I've watched a movie in or a TV show in a year.
Jeez,
I'm just not interested. I don't know what to say. I love that kind of stuff, but I can't be fussed right now in my life. So,
sure.
Bo's don't you dare tell me a story.
Yeah, don't.
But if an arm wrestling competition was on television,
I guess the last thing
watch that.
Yeah.
What was the last thing I played with a story? Planescape Torment.
Oh yeah,
that had a lot of story.
Yeah,
to be fair.
So was there something after it? Maybe.
Well, you were doing your BG3 run with your friends, but I don't think that counts. That's more like herding chickens.
Yeah.
That's I guess you did. You did play the what do you call it? The Dragon Age
games like Path of Exile and Heroes and Overwatch and what's the last? Forget. I don't know.
Probably Dragon Age. Probably Dragon Age.
V-Rising.
Oh yeah, Dragon Age is the last story game.
Yeah, that had a story.
Oh, it was. Yeah. That's
it
true.
ruined story games for you.
Yeah.
Put it on the back of the box.
Maybe that's what's going on here. You're just sick of these. You're just sick of these. Hey, how's it going, Wizard?
It's just,
pretty good,
kind of
Warrior.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's you're starting and you're low level and the world's bad and you got to fight the bad guy and I know the savorings and the telling, but they're all kind of. They're all kind of I just don't feel enticed. I don't perk up and go, ooh, a good example is I tried Metaphor Fantasio. Seems like a great game. It's not a critique of the game, it's a critique of me, but it's just oh, there's a society and things are going bad, and I'm gonna have to fight people to make the society better. I've been here before, I'm not excited by it, So
Just where you're at.
I'm the reverse of that, right? Like I'm always in the mood for a good story, but like if you're telling me, John, we're gonna play a competitive game, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
get me in the mood first because I do not want to be competitive. I'm not interested.
it's just hard based on what we do because I do end up feeling a little guilty. You
shouldn't feel guilty.
There's new games. We cover new games, and I'm like, I can't work up interest for any. Kingdom Come, don't care. I really feel like I need to play Rebirth. Like I'm committed to that, but I've had a hard time getting to it. I didn't get to it this week, but like I'm going to do that even if it kills me. Because it's an important game to me. But yeah, that's about where.
Yeah, I mean, you're a guy that bought 2 separate console occasions. You bought new consoles so that you could play.
Yeah, I'm also $1,000 invested into this game, so I have to play it.
That's so funny to me. I love it. You'll get around to it, I'm sure. But in the meantime, I don't know. We're going to hear a lot of thoughts about Avowed. I know I'm excited about it, so we'll see in the coming weeks.
Something crazy happens where you're like, Beau, you've got to play Avowed. You pull out your pecker and it's like a red Christmas tree. I'm like, all right, maybe I need to see this Christmas tree penis. I don't know.
Yeah, Christmas tree penis, trepenis. All right, let's get to some other stuff here. State of Play happened yesterday. We were going to try to watch this live, but I had stuff get in the way. I couldn't do it schedule-wise, so we didn't get a chance to do it. And it actually kind of turned out okay because a lot of it's stuff we already knew about. It's fine presentation, but it was a presentation on things that we had known about. Monster Hunter Wilds comes out this month. We did get a date for that, which I guess is important, but we'd seen that prior to that. This new Shinobi Act of Vengeance is the first of the Sega wave of games where I shouldn't say it's the first because technically Streets of Rage 4 would probably count as this, and other Sonic games certainly count as this, but they're reviving a lot of their old IPs, and the Shinobi Act of Vengeance video looked real cool. I'm very excited about that.
I thought it looked really good. You'll notice some of these are bolded. Don't consider that necessarily our collective take. As I was writing them down, I was like, man, a lot of these games have names that have not entered the collective gamer lexicon yet, and I am not going to remember which ones of these I liked unless I do something. So I bolded the ones that I thought looked good to me.
Yeah, and they actually, it's funny because they match what I thought almost to a T, with one exception, which I'll get to in a second, but I'm showing a little video now, just hyper animated, cell shady looking version of a platformer with the whole Shinobi vibe. And I love the old Shinobi games, but my only complaint about them, Genesis games and stuff, were that they were really, really stiff. Like there wasn't a lot of dynamic movement. It was just a lot of walk forward and throw your shurikens and fight stuff off with a sword occasionally. And there just wasn't a lot of dynamic, fluid combat, like say something like the Ninja Gaiden games or something like that. And this looks like a return to something very neat. So
it has a real deliberateness to the way it plays. Like there's kind of a stilted quality to the combat that makes it feel like it's about, pressing the right button at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is going to make watching people who are good at this game, so anybody besides me, be real fun to watch. But I'm really excited for it. Like I think it looks cool.
It looks very neat.
Look of it.
Someone in the chat said, and it reminded me, I forgot, 2D Ninja Gaiden and 2D Shinobi in the same year. Let's go.
Yeah. I know. Ninjas are back,
They're back. Ninja, this is the year of the ninja.
We found them. They were hiding. Now they're here.
Yeah. It feels right to be back in Ninja Town a little bit. You don't think about these genres. Like we're going to feel this way about pirates again at some point, or I don't know, some other.
I feel this way about pirates all the time.
Or zombies, I guess.
Oh man. Can you imagine? I try and picture a world where somebody makes a zombie game and you're excited.
It can happen for me because I love apocalyptic zombie stuff. I just need someone to do something different, and that's hard. So
what do you think it would take? Now I like some zombie games too. Like Telltale's original Walking Dead and season 2 of that thing is I love that game. I thought it was awesome. It made me cry manly tears. But
zombies don't matter that much in those games. Like
they're usually fodder.
It's not the center around that as the primary horror. It's like the hell is other people kind of thing with those games, you know?
Yeah.
Right. I liked Last of Us, like Last of Us Part 2. I liked both of those games an awful lot.
Sure.
So I guess Last of Us Part 3 would get me excited, but you know, that's kind of zombies. It's zombie adjacent.
Very much.
That's one of those things about zombies. It's what I always say. Zombies are lame and stupid. Like you can't, like, you know, you can improve, like you could make a movie about, oh man, I think Jedi's cool, but it would be way cooler if we added this to the whole Jedi thing and you make your own movie. Maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. You can't improve on zombies. The whole point is they're brain dead. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's a bigger zombie. Oh, there's a dog that's a zombie. Yeah. The zombies run really fast. Like 28 days later, kind of nailed it with like as being one of the few ways that zombies actually got improved by making it a rage virus.
Some people hate that, but I love
the creative like space on a zombie is like what? Like, you know, they become something else the moment they have any intelligence, right? Like it's so what do you do with it? It's just a husk that walks around.
Yeah,
it's usually
a lot of the times you like a zombie thing. It's like, well, they're also not zombies. They're like zombies. Whether that's Resident Evil 4 and the Plagas.
Yeah,
or,
they make them zombie adjacent.
Last of Us with the, you know, fungi people, the clickers and stuff. Like it's close, but it's not the same thing because they've evolved it into being its own thing. That said, I did immediately think of zombie things that would get me excited. If they do another Resident Evil or a good Resident Evil remake, I'd be excited.
But as soon as a zombie can like pole vault and like roundhouse kick, like they're not zombies anymore.
Zombie track and field.
Oh, we found it.
I'm back in.
Are those zombies? Like if you can, well, wait, what's zombie track and field?
There isn't one.
I don't know, but as soon as I thought about it, I was like, I'd play zombie track and field.
Hell yeah.
It's like a race, but they can just shuffle.
I think you could do that actually. Like I think there's a way, but they're still going to be dumb. It's not like they're actually going to be like, you know, Usain Bolt running around.
No. They still, in fact, the fun would be that they're dumb. If you run too fast in the sprint stuff, a leg will fall off.
Yeah, I don't think we've done
or a leg comes up.
Yeah, a leg comes up.
I feel like you could be a zombie rancher and you bring your zombies to compete in the zombie Olympics.
Yeah, zombie Olympics. I love this.
You gotta train up your zombies.
John now made 2 games in the show.
2 games. Oh man, this show's gonna make me rich with residuals, baby.
Yep.
This episode was a moneymaker.
Zombie
for me.
Olympic is a game that probably actually needs to happen.
A pole vaulting zombie. The only way the pole vaulting zombie gets a better score is if he pole vaults and then impales himself on his own stick
and goes over with the stick.
The zombie. It's not the zombie that gets the credit. It's the trainer, because every time a zombie does something, his body probably falls apart. You got to get
you got to get a new one.
Like,
yep. Yeah.
Like you pole vault and accidentally the pole goes through his weakened chest and he's gets stuck and doesn't make it over or something stupid like that.
I love this
like
idea.
Pokemon, but with dead people.
Yeah. I like it. You could name them and everything.
I mean, yes. So like this, we have a game.
Yeah, we're done. We've done it. We've decided how zombies work again. Honestly, the way
can't AI just make this game for it? Why are we asking our other people to make it for us?
Because it'll look like shit if they do it.
Can't they go to DeepSeek and just say, "Here's the game. Can you program it for me?"
It can. It'll just be garbage. It'll be bullshit, and you won't want to play it. So you want people making it.
What's the point of this? Why is it worth billions if it can't make me rich?
Haven't they considered Beau's long-term financial stability when they were thinking of this?
I just don't see what the point of AI is unless we're all getting wealthy.
Everybody gets loaded from it. Yeah, I'm sure that's not in their plan. I'm sure it's still for.
If everybody move forward, aren't we just in the same boat?
Yeah. Does anyone moving forward if all of us are?
Well, that's part of the joke, but it's part of the meta joke of the whole affair. Like every time I go to an AI, I'm always like, hey, can you help me with stocks? Like you're supposed to help me with problems. I'm like, I can get a hamburger anywhere. I can get a human to help me. But, I'm bad with money. Help me with money. Help me get some money. And it's like, sorry, that's outside the parameters of being able to help you. And it's like, well, why are you worth anything?
Yeah, why are you worth billions?
Get the fuck out of here! It's just stupid bullshit, Sam.
Why are you $1 trillion Sam Altman thing that needs investment all the time?
How are you helping anybody? And it's like, well, they're actually making them so they can make themselves obviously wealthy and no one else. And it's like, well, what is the point of the thing? Like, just
Cletus, whatever it is in the chat says. So DeepSeek is basically Blizzard. LOL. But that's a weird thing to say. Blizzard makes good games. They make quality games. You might not agree with everything they're working on, but I don't.
It's Godot or whatever.
I mean, they definitely did.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's open. It's open source.
Yeah, you can go download it, man. I can run that shit on my Mac.
Unplug it from the internet, and just run it off your local PC and whatever. That's,
it's
energy efficient.
Yeah, they kind of democratized it. However, when I asked if you do your own local one, this is different. You have different training data. But when I did it on the main one at deepseek.com or whatever it is, I asked it about the Tiananmen Square incident in the 80s. And it said, let's talk about something else. So then I wrote, because, made in China, they have rules over there about talking about that stuff. So I asked it something else about an American, Native American disaster thing that happened. That was a bunch of cowboys did it. It was terrible, big massacre. They had every detail you could think of on that massacre. Like, it was like, wow, they've been studying their stuff. But you ask them about Tiananmen Square, and they're like, oh, let's talk about something else. I'm not in the mood.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
who needs an AI that's not in the mood?
It's the answer to what's been going on globally, like this whole time, right there for you. In that, it's not about. There's no such thing as a poor country. There's an exploited country, and that's why the people are poor.
Yeah,
like it's been true forever. Even someone in the chat room, you said it too. I think when everyone rich is no one rich. Don't think about it in terms of money. Think about it as some people have a freezer full of food and some people don't. Well, everyone can have a freezer full of food. Like, that's all the money's for anyways, is to take care of each other. Like, it's not. So yes, like, we can all be wealthy.
Yeah.
The whole point is that, like, a small amount of people hoard all of the wealth and the rest of us struggle, and then tell us myths like, if everyone's rich, no one's rich. It's like, no, actually, if everyone can eat and have a place that's to live and access to things equally, then yes, that's great. It doesn't have to be a feast or famine type of world. That's what
communist. Someone's going to call you communist. They're going to call you the red
it's not communism. It's taking care of each otherism.
Well,
sorry.
Yeah, let's make that the new term. Taking care of each otherism.
It's just like
quite roll off the tongue.
Like I have to hunt for food. Like, if there weren't grocery stores, I'd have to hunt for food. Now, you could call me a murderer because I'm taking life, but I'll do it because that's how we eat. We're carnivores. I'm going to eat food. Like, that's okay. Call me a communist. It's still like, it's just a word. It's just a grunt you're making. Like, I just want people to have things, and we do that here in Canada, and you guys should do it too.
I think we should too. I would be much happier if we did here.
Don't stop having a big ego about, like, I don't want people to help each other.
Yeah.
If you help each other, you're worse than zombies.
Yeah. Worse than the worst zombie game. Here's the problem.
You're worse than Jeffrey Dahmer. I'd rather be Jeffrey Dahmer than give people things.
Back to the point, though, with the whole zombie movie thing, or the zombie game thing. It's a bigger challenge to make zombie games than it is to make a zombie TV series or a zombie movie, because most of the time, the important parts of those stories aren't that the zombies are coming. It's the people and how they act, treat each other, and work together or not, or die or fight. Right. It's about the
villain
people.
Is always someone who's like, no, we're doing what I want, and what I want is all the resources and for everyone to, like, be my slaves.
Sure. Most of the time, yes. But there are ways you can go. That's what I'm saying. There's innovation left there, though. In games, you have to shoot at things, if that's the game. Or you need to turn-based kill some zombies. Or the zombies are always going to be a part of the mechanics of the game, and it makes you lean into that and less on the story. Maybe Last of Us 1 and 2, those are examples of getting it right, where the zombies are just part of the minutia, but really this is about people. They do that better than others. I think that's why it works, but making another zombie game is hard. I think it's all kind of been done.
I just like that you said turn-based kill like it's a tactic you can bust out. It's like, hey, watch out, I'm going to turn-based fight you.
Well, Plants vs. Zombies, RTS, right? Plants vs. Zombies RTS game.
That game was great.
Well, is turn-based or real-time?
That was real-time. That was more like a auto-battler almost.
It's real-time, but also kind of round-based. Like, you get a little time to prep, but then it becomes real-time only.
So basically, if you don't click on things and put the flowers down, you lose. So it's real-time, right? Like, it's
real-time tactics. I would say that's how I'd call that.
Tower defense.
It's a little towery defense. I'll give her that. It's not.
Well, they're not moving along a path. There's 5 ranks.
5
that you have
paths.
to defend. I don't think.
There's one of these games in the UFO 50, John, the one where you put them in a line and they have to. What's that one called?
Maybe it is. I don't know. I think it's
a form of tower defense. I'll cop to that, but I kind of like it.
Right.
I do like Plants vs. Zombies. It's a long time ago. I could play it again.
Do you remember how great PopCap was in the day? Oh man, they didn't know how to make a bad video game. They would just make something and we would all eat it up forever, and it would establish new genres. Match 3 didn't exist before PopCap and Bejeweled. It didn't exist. We started playing that on our Palm Pilots, and now the whole world's a Match 3 game.
Is that true? There was no Match 3 before Bejeweled?
I don't think so. I mean, Bejeweled is old. We're talking like 90s for Bejeweled, like late 90s Palm Pilot era. I'd be shocked. If you can find something that's like it before them, I'll eat my words happily. But I'm pretty sure they invented that. The Peggle thing, which people have riffed on, they definitely made that popular, even though Pachinko existed before that. They made a game called Plants vs. Zombies. Nobody quite ever copied that real well. And what was the other one?
They put it in WoW.
I loved Bookworm. Oh man, I loved Bookworm so much. It's a word game, but I loved it. But yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find some Match 3 before that. And now look at the money King makes off Match 3 every freaking day from unsuspecting housewives. It's insane. All that money.
Still a thing? People haven't been burnt out from that?
Dude, King makes more money than any of these people Microsoft acquired. They never talk about it. But the catch...
Isn't it all gambling? I thought it was gambling.
Well, it's just...
Is it really just that
mobile
Farmville style game, like garbage game?
Well, no, like, Match 3, Candy Crush is really what I'm talking about. That's where their bread and butter is at King. But Candy Crush is a Match 3 game that encourages you to make microtransactions when you're stuck or need a little boost or whatever. And they make so much money on that. Like so much. Ridiculous amounts of money.
It's so criminal. It's actually criminal. I'm sorry, but
it'd have to be illegal to be criminal.
Those games are so crappy. I don't know. It's
from a legal standpoint, it's not criminal unless it's outlawed. But I get your point.
It's not criminal, but it's morally repugnant. How about that?
Yeah, I like that. I don't like matching candy anyway. I like the good old fashioned jewel. You know what I really liked was like what was the one? It showed up on DS first. It was a Nintendo DS game, and it went everywhere else. Not Gems of War. Oh shit! It was great, and for a hot minute, it was awesome, and now it's kind of bad. I can't think of what's called. Puzzle Quest.
Yeah,
it was
a good genre that got overtaken by freemium bullshit too.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'll give you an example. My dad does not play video games. It's not an interest he has. When I talk to him about video games, he stares off into the distance and thinks about all the sons he could have had. That said, he has 10,146 hours in Bejeweled 3. Now, he leaves it on all the time because he's an old man and he will play nonstop. But last time he played Bejeweled 3 was today. Last time he played the game Dynamite, which I don't even really know what that game is, but it's in the vein of Bejeweled and Peggle. Today, he's got 8,000 some hours in that. Next highest game he's played, Peggle Knights, got 5,000 some hours in that.
Man,
like these games are for people that don't play games, and there are a lot of people that don't play games.
Yeah, and your dad's one of them. So he kind of does play games. He just
he does.
Doesn't think he does, but he does.
Yeah, he doesn't think he does.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, people that think the games that they play don't count as games somehow if they're not like too nerdy,
Yeah, they're just like throwaway.
Playing Monopoly, you're not a gamer.
He's like, I just sit down and peggle for a second. That's not a game.
For a second.
Just peggle for a second. And then I come back and I peggle a little bit later.
If you're moving JPEGs around a screen, you're playing a game. That's how I see it. All right. Oh, something I noticed, just a side note. I was looking through old EGMs, like really ancient ones, issue 1 and 2. And what was great about them is, I just didn't think about this at the time, but there was no way to capture screen images from games back then. And I always wondered why the screenshots they would use were always a little washed out, a little angled funny, maybe a little bulbous, like they were warped. And it finally hit me. I'm like, they're taking a photograph of the CRT, of the screen playing whatever it is, Mega Man 1. And that's why it's washed out and looks weird, because that would look bad on a camera. And they did that for years because there was no great way to like, I don't think that SCART technology even existed then. You just couldn't capture stuff. Now we don't even think about it. Screenshots are so easy. But back in the day, it was like you couldn't do that. You had to hold up a camera and hope for the best. And then it would just look like shit in print. I couldn't believe they did that, but they did. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, we didn't mention that you didn't bold it, John, but I think Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is exciting because I love the first 2 Sonic Racing games. They're fantastic alternates.
That might become a popular one. My son has started playing video games a little bit, and that could end up becoming one that's in the household. So
yeah.
I'm not opposed to it because although I still maintain the idea of these characters that their whole thing is they go very fast driving cars is silly to me.
Yeah, no, I get it. Digimon Story, don't care. Lost Soul Aside. That looked good. Looked okay.
Yeah.
Was also
there were a few games on this show that were like third-person action-y games. They almost look like they could be subbed out one for another, but in almost all those cases, I thought they looked good. So I don't know what that means, that I'm like, man, a lot of these games look like exactly the same third-person action game, but I'm excited about every single one of them, so... But yeah, Lost Soul Aside, and then the other one was, I think, Tides of Annihilation. They look very similar, but I thought both of them looked really cool.
Yeah, let me skip ahead of here a little bit. Nice, fluid, pretty stuff. Skip ahead again. There's a lot of anime bullshit going on in this one, clearly. There we go. I mean, this is a nice looking game. Jeez.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. And it was one of the ones we hadn't really heard about, so it was nice to see something new. What else? Split Fiction. We knew about that. Directive 8020. What do we know about that game?
So this is by the same people who did, what is it called? Until Dawn, where it's kind of like your narrative, choose your own adventure. But at this time it's going to be space horror. So, imagine you're playing an Aliens movie.
It's my favorite kind. It's my favorite kind of horror is space horror. I love it. Huge fan. I mean, I don't like horror. You know how I am about horror games in general, but horror games in general. But
horror.
But I'll play. I'll play this. This looks cool. Those guys. They did the pit. Not the pit. What was that called? It's those guys, right? The teenage Screamathon movies. Or games. Yeah. Okay.
We got to get you to play one of these at some point. They're really fun to watch. I'm amazed no one has ever gotten you one of these games and made you play through it because they're scary and they're interesting to watch because people's playthroughs are similar but different because it is, again, like a choose your own adventure story where it's like, yeah, it's kind of the same basic framework, but it can go very different ways. So I think this is something you should play.
Yeah, this looks cool. The Quarry is the one I was thinking of. Thank you, Jump04 in the chat for reminding me. All right, that seems neat. Let's skip down ahead. A bunch of these we knew about. Onimusha 2, blah, 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 Way of the Sword. Here we go. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake. I feel like we've been talking about it for ages. We might finally get to play that game, which would be nice. So I am looking forward to that. I never played 3, which is... Snake Eater was 3, right? It was a PS2 deal.
And it's considered one of the best ones in the series too. It is very highly regarded. Yeah. I'm in a similar boat. I think I played maybe a couple hours of it. Mm-hmm. I never played through the whole thing. I think it's maybe the only big mainline Metal Gear Solid game I haven't ever played through all of. So I'm excited for this one.
I think it's the only one I haven't played any of because I'd played the NES games. I beat Solid 1, 2, then this came and I don't know what happened. I didn't play it. And then at all, I couldn't even buy it. Never had it. And then I played the PSP game, which was pretty good. Forgot that was called. It's like Fire Dirt 2 or
there were a few. There was like Acid.
Yeah.
Something else.
Oh my gosh, that guy's eyeball. Did you see that? That was awesome.
Yeah, his eyeball comes out when he snipes.
This guy's fighting with bees? Oh shit, I'm so excited.
Yeah, bees. There's like a cosmonaut guy. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, 3's revered, so it looks nice. Almost looks like that Resident Evil engine a little bit, doesn't it? Something about it.
A little bit.
Yeah. I expect Leon S. Kennedy to come out any time ago. What's going on? What's happening? I'm cool. Look at my hair. Hell Is Us. I think this looks rad. Let me pull that up too for you, chat. Because
Yeah, I have to look at it because again, I don't. Some of these names aren't great, but again, I think it's cool that we're doing new things. Not everything's a sequel. Not everything has to be a sequel, but it does. At this stage, it has the moment where it's like I read Hell Is Us and I'm like, well, I bolded it, so I must have felt some way about it. But I have no idea what that game is just by looking at the title.
Isn't this the people that were previous Mass Effect people? Or no, I'm thinking of something else.
No, that's something else.
The Deus Ex art director.
There was something like that. Some previous someone we like, and then doing it.
And I think Adam Jensen's acting in this.
Oh,
Elias
no way, really? Sweet.
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh, we got a guy with a chin problem. This looks great.
Yeah, I thought I have no idea what this game is. I think it looks cool. That's why I bolted it. It doesn't need anything more complicated than that. I thought it looked cool.
It looks like you're a guy in a trench coat with a sword and you swing it. Also, you have a drone.
Yeah. And there's some trippy dream looking stuff. And
so you'll be
yeah, your drone's always with you too, right? Seems like it's always hanging out, doing drone things.
Yeah, I think it's like a Jedi Survivor type deal.
Yeah.
You know, like he's kind of does things for you, I guess.
Oh, I love the monolithic stuff. This is pretty cool. September 4th. So watch for that.
I think they kind of, those monoliths look a little No Man's Sky-y to me, but it's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Maybe a little bit.
There's a little No Man's Sky vibe to like a giant brick with a whole circle hole. I'm like, I've seen plenty of those on planets.
Oh, yeah. No Man's Sky wants you to think those are every 5 feet. Those are like Starbucks of the universe. They're everywhere.
Yeah, that's where you learn words of the other languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I discovered an ancient monolith that I activated. I now know the word the.
Yeah. So true, dude. Another interesting one on here I thought was Tides of Annihilation. We'd known about it, I think.
You're gonna like this one because it's got the voice actress for Shadowheart voicing the main character in this, which we all know.
Yeah,
fell in love with Shadowheart immediately, but voice alone.
Fell in love so much he couldn't bear to play the game.
He couldn't play the game anymore.
And I've never gotten over it. She's still in my heart each and every day. Oh, it even looks like her. So they did mocap with her and stuff. Oh man, I'm gonna have to play this game. Not for that creepy.
I told you. What did I say?
Yeah, but look at this. Look at this cool version of London, all beat up and shot to shit. That's pretty neat. Ooh, look at this. What is that?
I think it's basically there's kaiju. It looks like Shadow of the Colossus style, like just big giant creatures you got to climb up on.
See, this stuff Sony leans into that I really like. Do we know if this is Sony only or is it this one multi-platform? Oh my gosh, look at the size of that shit. All right, the Shadowheart game. I'm getting it. I'll be playing that.
Shadowheart game. He's going to call it that too.
I am. The whole time I play it.
It is not going to be just Sony. I see it on Steam right now.
Oh, good. Well, all right.
Although it just says coming soon, so I don't know.
Who knows what that means? And they don't say they don't have a date on this video either, but it looks cool. All right, so if you didn't have enough third-person action games, guess what? This year's got lots of them. Some with ninjas. So
I mean, this game actually does look pretty wild.
Yeah, I like the look a lot. It looks very nice. Sony. Speaking of Sony, they were down for like 2 days, and people were pissed. And it was right during the Super Bowl, which meant all the people that were into sports were happy because they had the Super Bowl. And if you weren't into the Super Bowl, you didn't have your PSN to go to. You can go play your online only games. I think even some offline stuff wouldn't work because the servers wouldn't authenticate. So that was bad, and they ended up giving.
It was bad in a lot of ways too, because I guess there was a Monster Hunter Wilds beta weekend that was supposed to be happening that weekend. They've now extended it because Sony players couldn't play. It impacted our household because my wife hadn't played. She hasn't played Fortnite in like a month. She's just been too busy. She finally had a night off. She's like, I'm gonna sit down and play Fortnite, and I said, no, you aren't. I got some bad news for you. So. Yeah, it was a big outage for them.
They gave 5 days for free as their consolation for the trouble. So I guess that's okay. I don't know.
Not if you died on the third day.
No, but you rose on the 6th and everything was fine. Getting religious in here. But yeah, Sony's known for when they've had outages, they're always kind of catastrophic. and take longer than everybody else's. This wasn't terrible, but it's not great. It's not a good look. And they don't get out in front of it. You rarely ever hear, oh, PSN's down, and then you hear Sony go, we're aware of it. We're doing this and that. We believe this is happening. We expect that. They don't do that. They just get quiet. They go work on the thing. And then when it's ready, they'll come back and say, yep, sorry about that. We'll give you 5 days, fake days of PSN access. Quit bugging us. That's basically that. So anyway, Jennifer English is also on Expedition 33, says Talia.
Oh my gosh.
That's two. That makes 2 Shadowheart games I'll be playing this year.
I wish I could erase the sound and thing you just did at the end of that, man. Oh my gosh.
Were you bean flicking?
No.
Oh man.
That's what it sounded like. I wasn't looking at your camera, but that's what it sounded.
It's the sort of thing I do.
Like, oh, Shadowheart.
You could have showed me a plate of Thai food and I would have made that noise. It would all have been the same.
That didn't make it better. You just...
So you tell me you bean... Well, okay.
I'm just saying that there are 2 games...
You bean flick a pad Thai. I got it.
There are 2 games with her in them, and I like her a lot. She's very talented and an awesome... does great characterizations in video games, and I'm very much looking forward to playing both those games. That's all it is. There's nothing else.
I'm not sure if this was good.
I don't know.
Put the shovel down, Scott.
Yeah,
put it down.
put it down.
Just drop it. Just drop it on the ground. And
Biko in the chat says Control Z, Control Z. Yeah, for sure. Valve did a thing.
We're all allowed to have our crushes.
Yeah, we're allowed to have these video game crushes. That's fine.
He just got excited and made a noise. We're being immature about it.
I don't go full waifu like some people. I'm just, I just think she's great.
Yeah, he's not a body pillow guy, so
Yeah, and I was in that game very with monogamistic. Is that the word? Monogamist with her. I wasn't dating everybody in that game. The way Beau is effing everything that moved in Battle or Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, it's a video. It's not real life.
That makes it better.
I was very exclusive with her.
Saved it, Scott. Good job.
Well, I like what you called it at first.
It's fine. Everything I just did was fine because I only dated her in Baldur's Gate.
It doesn't sound right no matter what I say.
It's not creepy if I'm just being creepy to one person.
Yeah. Hey, it could be Halson we're talking about, and he's not here to hear the show tonight.
He was here a minute ago.
Was he here a minute ago? Maybe he's still in here. All right. Well, Halson, if you're listening.
Halson's always watching. He's got to protect the forest, and we're part of the forest.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's got to make sure we don't step out of line.
Taronda, he says occasionally.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, different kind of dude. All right, fair.
Wait, no, Dave doesn't do Malfurion.
I know he doesn't. I'm kidding. I'm just thinking of all the.
I'd be surprised, but also happy.
In addition to all the Shadowheart creepiness, Scott is now also saying all druids are the same.
All druids are the same. Tell me a difference. What do they all turn into bears?
They all love Taronda.
Oh yeah, they're all
stuck in some brambles.
Their armor's made out of wood and leaves. I mean, this is how it works. That's how it is. And they have a staff. All right. This is a cool story, I think, this bit. Valve banned all Steam games that require watching advertisements to play. So think of mobile games where they say, all right, you're about ready to start. Here's an ad you have to watch first. Oh, geez. Okay. Even if they're free to play on Steam, they have banned any of them that make you watch ads to play them. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Get that out of there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well done.
It's like the reverse of a mobile phone company,
Yeah.
They're like, ads, bring those apps in here. We need them.
Yeah. They're like, no, we don't think. I mean, they want to encourage free-to-play games and all that, but they don't want to encourage that crap. So,
well, I remember I did it for the most recent game I probably did something like that on was that Doom. That cool mobile Doom game they made that I actually kind of liked, but what was it called? Like Baby Doom or Paper Doom or something like that?
Paper Doom.
Baby Doom. Baby Doom.
Baby
Yeah, it was
Doom.
like mobile game Doom.
Mobile game Doom. Oh.
Mighty Doom.
Mighty Doom. Yeah, we played that for a hot minute, that you and I did.
I really liked it, but it had that stupid freaking like that would be a great Steam Deck game. That's like a Vampire Survivors game that's actually like I would big up. Like it's the same kind of deal, except it's not hordes. It's like that same tactical chess thing in a Vampire Survivors light. kind of coat. It's good, but in order to get better weapons, you got to open loot boxes. In order to get loot boxes, you got to get currency. One type of currency you can get by watching an advertisement. And I was like, damn, I want good weapons because I like playing Mighty Doom. And I would watch the ads. And it sucks. It's a miserable way to live. It's like a crime against humanity. I think people who do that should get new jobs.
But I do think what you've described is an actually awesome thing that they might make a Dune game that plays like a Vampire Survivors game. I would play the living hell out of that.
Well, I just wonder. I mean, you should. There should be a game like this that's like $10 on Steam.
That's what I mean. Just buy it. Yeah.
Shit out of it. Yeah. I like that it was just a corridor thing, like this linear up and down, and the challenges would get progressively harder. And they had like weekly events, like roguelike stuff. Like they would, I would do the repeat stuff because sometimes just an excuse to play the fun game loop is enough, right?
Yeah.
And they had pretty good missions. Like overall, that game was like fantastic, except progression was locked behind mobile bullshit, not behind playing a game. And people who are involved with that, I guess if you're working a job, whatever, maybe it's not your fault. I don't know. But somebody's deciding to do this in the world, and you make me sad. And you make the whole world sad, and you make gaming a worse place. So, there you go.
Take that.
Sorry.
No, I don't think you have to be sorry. I think it sucks, but I think it's good that Valve's doing this. Someone in the chat said this is old news. This just happened.
Well, what? The Valve thing?
The Valve thing.
Well, no. So apparently it was always a policy.
Yeah, they just weren't enforcing it or something?
They formalized the text, and I guess this is an announcement to say they're increasing enforcement. But I don't know if they went on a huge banning spree. Like that wasn't accompanied in any of the articles I read, at least, that they these 150 games are now no longer on Steam. I didn't see anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I actually wonder how many. I'm not playing games like that, so I don't even know how rampant it was, but I assume there was a fair amount.
I think it garnered a lot of extra attention because recently EA had said that they were looking for new ways to put ads in video games. Not an uncommon thing for EA to say.
No, they've been saying that for years.
The real reason Dragon Age didn't sell well is we didn't have advertising.
Nobody was going, hey, we need to be the guardians of the veil.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do that correct, I think everyone can agree if we all sit back and have a nice, refreshing Coca-Cola, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch a Coca-Cola ad so that we can get 15 Veil Guard coins.
Yeah,
Veil coins.
Veil coins.
And use those Veil coins to buy all the sweet cosmetics in the game. Yay.
Oh, fake currencies are the worst. I hate them. Just saying Veil coins made me kind of sick,
Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to throw a shout out to Daniel McDonald, who swung by the chat again and gave away 20 gift memberships to everybody. He's very nice.
God. Congratulations.
Very nice guy. Keeps doing this stuff. I don't know why this channel deserves it, but I appreciate it. That's awesome. Okay, let's now talk about Borderlands 4's launch date, September 23rd. We also learned this at the Sony event, or they talked about it at the Sony event. I'm not sure that was the only place, but...
Yeah, it was another opportunity to hear Randy Pitchford call it Borderlands.
Borderlands. Oh, he came out and said it? I missed that bit.
He was in the video going, we're so excited about Borderlands.
Great. I love the way he pronounces Borderlands is fantastic.
Borderlands.
I gotta say, I mean, as much as I always say I'm done with Borderlands because I've just done all that the game can kind of offer. There's stuff in this third one that looks pretty, or fourth, I guess. Sorry.
This is the fourth one.
The fourth one that just looks nice. This looks like I'm going to have a good time, Again,
like it's appealing to the contingent that are like, I don't care about the story. Just give me a fun gun and let me run around and shoot things.
What if the story's awesome? What if it's just like, wow? Like, they did a good job with it.
Do you really believe that?
I think the Tiny Tina thing upped the game. I do. That game was funny.
Tiny Tina was actually had some funny moments. Yeah.
Yeah, like the writing was way better in that. Borderlands 3 was terrible writing. Like atrocious.
Stunk. The pre-sequel kind of stunk. 2 is goated, and 1's okay.
And then the point and click one was real good. What was that called?
Tales from the Bodalands.
Tales from the Bodalands.
But apparently, Tales from the Bodalands 2 is like a hot mess.
It is. It's not the same people. It's trying to get you to buy it
I
because
think it's
the
a
first
hard
one was
IP
so
to.
good.
Yeah.
I think it's IP people like. I know I like it, but I think it's hard to write for. Like, I think you need the right. You need the right people for it. It's clear at how uneven. Like, it goes from being like okay to being good to being mostly terrible, but then also sometimes being amazing. So
Yeah.
Including the movie, which I haven't seen yet. Though I'm still curious, even though I know it's gonna be bad. I I have no reason to disbelieve the whole world.
Are you going to watch it when it's relatively available to see? You're going to make a point of seeing that?
Yeah, I think well, I mean, it's like one of those that like I probably if it's streaming somewhere free, I'm gonna watch it like on my phone at 1 a.m. when I should be sleeping. That's what that kind of movie is. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't sleep. Let me watch Borderlands.
Yeah,
I can sleep now.
My expectations are pretty low on that, but I'll see it. Probably film sack it is what we'll do.
I mean, I
right.
think the ads made it look good. It's just the ads can do that sometimes.
Yeah,
if you cut the top 1% of the film together, it looks amazing.
And sometimes they do a terrible job, like Transformers 1. They told us it was going to be terrible, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Jon Beau, you still need to see Transformers 1. You need to see it.
Yeah. I just wait for it to stream. Everyone wants me to spend $20 to rent it. I was like, no thanks.
No. Well, it's on... you don't have Paramount, though, do you? Where you are?
I think you can get Paramount with Amazon. I'm kind of in this weird place with these services because they're offering ads all the time, even on high subscription tiers and stuff. Like, I don't know what's going on. And
they want it
this
both
whole
ways.
Like techno-feudalism thing. I really don't want to pay tax to people, to non-governmental organizations. So I'm having a real like crisis, I guess, in terms of like subscription fees. I really would like to just not subscribe to anything ever again, except World of Warcraft, which is fine.
Well, yeah, because you're getting you know what you're getting for your value, but these other ones are
I just feel like it's a good deal and everyone knows what they're getting, but it's just like am I paying this for the rest of my life? You know what I mean? Like let's say you like having TV, you like having Netflix, and it's like, well, now I feel like I'm going to be paying these guys $10 for the rest of my life, and maybe it's not a big deal, but I think it is a big deal because you see every business out there, trying to get a subscription. There's a shaving company that wants you. Food companies want you to. Everyone wants to pay subscription because it's obviously so much better for them than it is for what you get out of it. And I have a protesting kind of mind. I'm just like, if I really don't like something, I will cut off my face to spite my nose a little bit. And I'm really trying to move away from a world where I do subscriptions.
Sure.
Even if it's a better value.
Well, I would argue that you've said you went like a year without watching any movie or TV or something close to that. Like you shouldn't
I don't
be
sub to anything. Like what my mom does because she likes her TV and stuff. But I don't sub to anything.
Good.
So I don't know.
Good. Stick it to the man. Occasionally use like a complex way.
Wait, did you cancel your YouTube subscription?
Oh no, I have a YouTube, but yeah,
YouTube. That YouTube sub is never leaving me.
That's still watchable. That just gets rid of the ads, even though I could use.
It's so funny because I feel the same way, Scott, and we both laughed at Beau when he subscribed.
I know he was right though. He was
laughed at him.
They still give money to the creators, even if you have a premium. So I still rationalize it like I like to support creators,
Well, I rationalize it as in the site's unusable without it, and I would rather die than give it up. So
also that,
that too.
I do know that the money goes into
that helps. But I also, what else I like?
Watch this 2-minute long video. Well, I hope you enjoy a 30-minute purple memory foam ad right in the middle of it for no good reason.
It also I really like YouTube Music. I use it entirely for my music stuff now, and it just comes with it. So if you weren't already, if you're already using Spotify or something else and you dump it for this, it's such an awesome value because you're getting all the great YouTube. It's not a paid advertisement, by the way, everybody. We're not like, I'm at nobody's tea to
Yeah, but you've done enough of them that I do.
We talk about our lives.
Disclaimer because you do sound like you're selling it right now to everybody.
A little bit.
Scott's gone into radio pitch mode.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about our lives and how they've been made better by certain things. And yes, premium. If a podcast has a YouTube version, I will watch it on YouTube without watching the video because I'll turn my phone off and put my headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
like rather than do the RSS feed, even though that's probably a betrayal of the principles I believe in. RSS is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's like saying,
but it's,
stick.
it's way more convenient, and you get the comments and the interactivity of YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can like it.
They just announced this week too, YouTube is more popular on televisions than phones now, or mobile devices, phones and tablets, which I didn't think they'd ever get to that. But now they are in the TV business now.
I got my mom hooked on YouTube because she likes to just leave the TV on and like sew or create, and but she'll leave it on CBC, that's the Canada Broadcasting Corporation, and they play like 15 ads, like literally like 5 minutes of ads, because it's real TV but on the internet. So even if you pay for CBC, you still get 5 minutes of annoying music because they're like, sorry, it's the ad time. So I was like, look, man, if you just want to have something on, just go listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson on Star Talk or something. I mean, I know you don't want to listen to video game shows, so I'm not going to recommend Core, although you could listen to that. But
that's a whole day.
She likes her, she likes Neil deGrasse Tyson, and she likes British, like the English people a lot. So I'm like, here, look, there's English creators, and so now she has it on English creator channels and stuff. So it's just good. YouTube's like good second screen content, not even just for video gamers, but for like arts and crafters.
Yeah, heck yeah,
yeah.
Plus, I don't know, it's great. And also, somebody in the chat says, "Well, I have to keep Spotify." No, you don't. Just use YouTube Music. They've got more selection there than Spotify does.
Yeah, whenever I hear someone has Spotify, I'm just like
why are you using that? And I've had it before. I've had Apple Music, and I've had YouTube Music, and by far, I get more wide variety of weirdness and everything I'm ever looking for on YouTube Music. Part of the reason I get the weirdness I want, like 10 hours of the next generation engine noise, is because that's already up on YouTube, and it just pulls it through the the Apple Music thing. So I'm using Apple devices. I'm playing the YouTube Music app on my phone as if I was Spotify or something. And I understand if people already have like a million set lists and they don't want to go recreate all. I get it why that's a thing, but I'm not one of those users. I just want to be able to find what I want when I want it and play it, and it's so great. And I'm paying.
Well,
I'm basically
and
free.
I feel like you all judged me for my Spotify subscription.
You do whatever you got to do, John. You do whatever you got to do.
For the same price, you can get the same music, but also you can have an ad-free viewing of a 12-hour documentary about the Phantom Menace.
Who doesn't want that?
I mean, I'm subscribed to both. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I understand. I can do both.
The other problem is if you got other people who are all hooked on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever alternative service, it's hard to get them to switch. So if you're on a family thing, but
and that's
kind of where you're at.
That's the boat we're in. Is everybody's on Spotify?
Yeah, if it was just John,
ideally, I would like to move away from all subs. So it's hard.
All subs, but the kind you eat with bread and all the meat in there. Those are good subs. I like those.
No, that as well. That's not a sub. That's cake. That's apparently Scotland or Ireland classified Subway bread as cake.
Oh my gosh! Well, I don't go to Subway
because
Subway's gross.
How it's made. And I'm like, I should not be eating this.
I'm more of a Firehouse. What's the one where it's basically a fat joke? Can't remember the name of it.
Pit?
No, it's one here called. Shoot,
I've seen Firehouse subs before. I don't know if that's
Firehouse is definitely one we have. We have Firehouse. We have Mike's or Jersey Mike's. It's pretty good.
I love Jersey Mike's. We have one by us, and I was very excited about that.
Yeah, we talked about the other show. We called it New Jersey Michaels.
New Jersey Michaels,
just to be all formal about it.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. But the other one is
people are asking about the core patron sub. I say this every time. You're supporting individual creators who are making nothing. I make, out of this 10 grand a year, which is barely 10 to 20 grand a year.
Yeah. No, understand.
We're trying not to fund tech oligarchs that make money in the millions.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Anybody over there, including Jeff Bezos or anybody else in charge at Prime, they 100,000% did not need to raise their fees on premium viewing to $2 more just so you didn't get commercials and you were already not getting those. I promise you that wasn't to save anyone's job or to save a business or to do anything to help anybody. That was pure greed. and it pisses me off.
It's like, and I'm not going to stop using banking just because they have banking fees for transactions. Like, we're not trying to be unreasonable. I'm just like, the tech oligarchy annoys me, and I want them all to suffer.
Well, also let people make whatever decision they want.
Yeah, everybody do what you want to do.
If Beau doesn't want to subscribe to things, let him not subscribe to things.
Right.
It isn't
I'm not trying to get
an indictment of the rest of you.
It's just I'm trying to prune back, and I think there's really good reason.
Beau's pruning back personally. I've been doing a bit of that as well. Just do what you do what you want out there. There's going to be somebody who wants to get everything there is. Go for it. Do what you want.
Well, yeah, I would happily sub to someone who made them a reasonable amount of money that wasn't set for world conquest and domination. Like, that's the difference. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Same reason why I didn't buy Atomic Heart. The money does go back to the Russian government, and the Russians are currently firing rockets at innocent people in Ukraine. They're using civilians.
The game's also not very good.
War strategy.
Game's kind of
bad. It might be good. It could be the best game in the world. Doesn't matter. It's like, now that I know that it goes that way, then I can make an ethical choice if I want to.
Sure.
And you can call me a hypocrite if you want to, but I'm still going to do that like a 10 times out of 10. So
sure.
That's why I'm trying to pare back on these big services. It's because it's tax. At the end of the day, they're just getting tax money without being a government providing you with actually good services.
Like our government, where we pay tax.
It's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to bring back the thing John did. Like, it's like, oh, do you want to pay $16 a month to watch TV from 15 years ago? No. It was cool when Netflix was $5 and no one gave a shit about Netflix.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's not cool anymore, guys. Sorry. This is your early weather report that, the sub world that we all thought was cool in the early 2000s. It's over.
I am so excited about our comments this week. It's going to be a lot of, why is Beau so grouchy about everything?
I'm not grouchy. I'm just ahead of the curve.
That's right. You're way out there.
I'll see you guys in 10 years when you agree with me.
You're warning us from the future. I get it. I get it. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to do a Dear Martha game show. John's got a little something for us today. Excited about that. Been enjoying the hell out of these. We also have our Week in Gaming, some messages from you at home, and more. Hey, everybody, we're back, and we got Dear Martha to do. It's one of your favorites. We hear from you all the time that you guys love these, so we're going to do one now. John, explain this week what the plan is. What do you got here?
Well, once again, we are playing Guess the Game, and rules are same as before, but in case it's your first time, I'm going to read a negative review letter to Martha herself.
Oh, my.
And in this review, it is going to badly describe a video game. You have got to guess what video game I'm talking about. Now, last week, you were saved, or at least Beau was saved, by chat. They saved him. They got him the right answer. They've made him find the right place. So this week is a penalty. There is no multiple choice. Your only hint is it's a classic NES game. You have every classic NES game to choose from.
Okay. So it's not like it's not like a short set list of 10. This is any classic NES game.
Any classic NES game.
All right, here we go.
My dearest Martha, I want to talk to you about the Nintendo Entertainment System. It is considered a classic, and for very good reason. Just think of all the amazing games that it introduced us to, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. These games were bad, Martha. We just didn't know any better because Genshin Impact hadn't been invented yet. Just yesterday, I revisited one of these classics, and do you know what it was, Martha? It was a watered-down Greek myth that got most of its facts totally wrong. Like someone just threw darts at the myth board and grabbed whatever it hit. Also, I'm fairly certain one of the enemies is basically a penis magician. And we sold this to children, Martha. Penis magicians. At least I think that's what it was about. But who can even really tell in this rage-inducing nightmare? I give this game a 3 out of 10 because that's how many retries I gave this game before giving up. Yours in this life and the next, Wings Don't Fly 52.
All right, I have Beau, I already have a strong feeling about what this probably is, so I'll just say mine, and then you can either agree with that or counter it, but I think this is Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus probably had a penis magician?
Well, this is the only part I'm unsure about because the rest of it sounded like he was describing Kid Icarus. but that part I don't remember a penis magician. It's probably a bad guy or something. I don't know.
Oh, one of the enemies might be. They had weird enemies. You might be right about, man, Kid Icarus, dude. That was my first, like when I bought my first Nintendo Entertainment System, I got it for passing grade 4, I think. My grandmother bought it for me, and the one game I had was Kid Icarus, and I played the living shit out of that game.
I liked Kid Icarus.
The game I had.
I thought it was fun.
And it was so much better than Atari. It was like going from Atari to Kid Icarus was such a jump.
Yep. Truth.
Have you done a play retro on Kid
No,
Icarus?
but we need to. I would love to, because I got all kinds of mixed feelings about it. But I like it.
And it's a shame because I think the only really good one is that original one. Like I know they've come up with other ones, but they've never tweaked me the same as Kid Icarus has. The penis things throw me off a little bit. I don't remember a penis wizard, but the
penis.
There was another Greek myth game for NES that was also pretty goated.
What was it?
Battle of Olympus, I think it was called.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, I might have just rented it. Battle of Olympus, NES.
Of or for?
By Broderbund. Battle of Olympus.
Battle of Olympus.
Get some video of it here. Hang on, I'll link it to you.
Okay.
I'm still probably going with Kid Icarus, but I remember really liking Battle of Olympus back in the day.
All right, let's bring it up. Just show the chat real quick here. We got, I don't know this one at all, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Let's skip ahead here.
That's not Battle of Olympus at the start. Go to like the middle. It's doing some history with some games like it.
Is this it right here? Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a knockoff Link game.
Kind of like Link 2
there's
or
elements of Castlevania in it as well. It's like pretty good game.
You remember these little slimes jumping at you?
I mean, are those the penis wizards?
Well, you decide. I think Kid Icarus, but if you feel strong about this.
I mean, I just feel like Battle of Olympus is like probably too deep in the crate for what this has got to be, right?
Well, I hadn't even heard of it.
I did an entire bonus episode about wizards and warriors. I'm not afraid to
dig deep,
step outside of the most common, well-known of NES games. That's not a hint. I'm just letting you know. Yeah. I did a bonus show. I'm not afraid to. It might be common. It might be uncommon.
All right, you go, Kid Icarus. I'll just say Battle of Olympus, just to make it interesting.
Keep it interesting. Yeah. Okay.
It could, yes, yeah.
There you go then. So, John, it's either Kid Icarus, we think, or Battle for Olympus on the NES. What say you?
All right. We have a winner. This week, Scott Johnson, correct, with Kid Icarus was the game.
You were almost a winner. Yeah.
Answer the question on everybody's minds. Why did we talk about penis magicians in this review? Because one of the big enemies in Kid Icarus is the eggplant wizard.
Okay. Do you have a picture?
We all know that eggplants is the emoji for penis.
Is there I need a photo of this guy. Let's see here. So we got eggplant. Whoops.
Oh, here we go. Hang on, I got it. I got video. Hang on.
Okay.
Copy with the embed link in Discord.
All right, let's take a look. I'm always interested in these things.
The video's called Meet the Eggplant Wizard.
All right, here we go. Screen and here.
Yeah, there they are.
Oh.
Eggplant wizards.
Oh, there's multiples of them. Oh, and you do pick up an eggplant. I don't remember this.
Like if you get hit with it, then you get turned into an eggplant and can't,
this is I don't remember this. I mean, I got pretty far in that game. Maybe I didn't get far enough.
Yeah, so this isn't a castle. This is like the first castle, pretty much, seems like.
Yes, and as chat pointed out, even the screen name was a hint. Wings Don't Fly 52.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking. Or that's where I was convinced is when you got done. I used to love this game. He's still how do you get, now that he's turned into a penis plant, how does he change that? I don't remember how.
I think it goes away after a time.
Okay.
Is the deal with
that. Video games.
Yeah, they're very logical.
They really are. All right, that was great. As always, well done. Time for us to now talk about the games we played. I'm in the wrong place and the wrong tab. Oh, it was loud. All right. shared play this week, Civ 7, Civilization 7. I'll get to John's hot take in a second because he's played it longer and also had, I mean, we talked about it briefly last week, right? Because you paid for the early.
Yeah, and I had played it for a couple hours prior to the show.
Yeah, and that's now how long I've had in the game, is maybe a couple hours total. I just picked it up yesterday, or got a code yesterday from a very kind human being in our chat. Anyway, I think I'm not far enough in to really give it any kind of anything other than to say I think I kind of like the, I don't know if the word simplified is the right word, but the on-ramping and consolidation of some of the systems in early game. I actually welcome that. I think it was a little too fiddly, especially in 6, maybe less so in 5. But there is a feeling that there's stuff missing there. But if you pay attention, you realize where it is. It's like, oh well, if I'm expanding my land grab to this tile is going to give me a farm and these production boosts, or I'll do this one and get a lumber camp, instead of having to like buy the space or expand in some other way and then later decide to put a camp there with the worker. Like some of that's just like automated into a decision about where you're expanding, and then all that work just sort of happens. And some probably see that as taking out details that are better for the long-term game or whatever, but I kind of like it. I'm enjoying that. I feel like I'm just getting into what I like about the game faster and less fiddly in the early goings. But like I said, I'm only 2 hours in, so it's all very early goings. I'm not to any kind of second era or any of that yet. And the eras are a big part of this game, so I'm curious if John's hit a lot of that stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. It did have this weird effect, though, of making me want to fire up Old World, and I don't know why, other than they're both 4X games. So I might still do that just because I always kind of want to get back and play more Old World because it's been a while. But yeah, my impressions are twofold. One, I don't know enough mid to end game to say whether I'm having a good time or not. The game's pretty much split 50-50 on reviews. Some of them are stupid, both in the positive and negative. So I would like really learn for yourself and return it if you don't like it. But I think John's prediction a few weeks ago, it holds true. These things are always divisive at launch, and this is literally almost right down the middle. It's like 51% positive and 49% not on Steam. Anyway, I think the vibe's great. I think the music's great. I think that the look is great. I think there are UI issues, as John said last week, and a lot of others have talked about. I think those can be fixed, though, so I'm not that worried about them. I think controller support is really good because I tried it on Steam Deck, which is also very good, except for some of the zoomings are a little hitchy on deck, and I think that they've said that they're going to optimize all that, so I'm not that worried about that in the long run either, but it does play pretty well there. And then to add on to that, or tack onto that, we got this email from a listener who said, this is Blake in New York City. He says, hey guys, listening to the Civ 7 discussion on Core about the music. The composer is Christopher Tin. He composed the Civ music for a while, but he also does his own stuff. His album To Shiver the Sky is one of my all-time favorites. In it, he sets the writings of history's greatest astronomers, flying myths, and speeches about flight in choral arrangements to spectacular cinematic music. It is incredible, says Blake. It is. I went and tracked all that stuff down, and then I had forgotten that he did the music for Old World, so he does other games a lot like Civ, and his own work, and even his own albums have some of the Civ intro music, has arrangements of that stuff in there. Really, really neat stuff. So I just want to give Blake a shout out and tell him that you sent me on a good path. I really enjoyed checking out all his music, and we'll do some more of that. So there's my quick take. John, you're further. You've been playing it a while now. I'm curious what life is like in deeper inside.
Yeah, if you're not interested in Civ, go get a sandwich, go get a coffee, go chill for a little bit. Because last week I talked about Civilization, and I was pretty positive about it, and didn't fully understand where a lot of the criticisms were coming from. And I didn't want to inform my opinion, because sometimes that's something that happens. You hear someone point out one thing and it's like, now it's locked in your brain. So I didn't want to do a deep dive on what the problems were until I had gotten further into the game. I did see we had a YouTube comment from someone saying, their issue was at the turn of the ages, which I hadn't gotten to when we talked about it last week. And now I have spent a lot of time with it. I've played through one full game of it, started several others, made it to a couple different ages on some of those games, and have had generally a considerable amount of time with the game. And it has problems. It's got a lot of things I really don't like in this game. And it doesn't completely ruin the experience for me. I'm still probably going to play a lot of Civ 7. I don't see myself uninstalling this game and installing Civ 6 and going, well, fine, I'm going back. I've played a lot of Civ 6. And what I said last week, I still stand behind. I really respect that they don't just go, hey guys, I just make the same game. I can collect another payment from these people and just do it again. I do respect that they seem to try to reinvent it to some degree every time they put the game out. And I do respect that, although I also stand by what I said last week, where I said this feels like maybe the most minimal amount I would be okay with them putting in the game under what I'm sure is going to be more to come later via paid DLC of some kind. It does feel a little feature light, and I think a lot of the things that people are upset about need to be addressed for free, not behind a paywall of DLC. And I think that will actually be really bad, is if a lot of the things that I'm about to say I don't like, and that a lot of people in general are saying they don't like, get resolved in paid expansions and stuff like that. I think that would be a mistake. Now, that said, I will also say that they have said there's going to be a patch in March that is going to address things that have already been mentioned as concerns. One of the biggest ones being UI. There are a couple UI elements and things in this game that are basically atrocious. They don't look good. They look like they belong in a completely different game. They don't even match the game that's there. It feels like placeholder UI for some of these things. And they are almost nonsensical. And I hope you read the tutorial window when it popped up to tell you what the purpose of it was, because otherwise you're going to be sitting there scratching your head or trying to dig through the Civilopedia to figure out how to do and what the point of this system is. So there's some egregious stuff like that in there. They have said they're working on it. Hopefully whatever solution they come up with is good, but that is going to come in the form of updates. So they're listening. They're doing updates to the game. That's good. First thing I want to say, this game does do some things better than other Civilization games, in my opinion. The way it handles barbarians and city-states is much better. So no longer are you going to just be randomly attacked by barbarian encampments. Now, basically, any hostile element that's not another civilization appears kind of the way they did as a city-state in 6, but sometimes they'll be hostile to you and sometimes they won't. And it opens up the ability to either conquer them like you would a barbarian encampment and, earn money, resources, whatever from conquering them. It also opens diplomatic options for that camp, including the ability to use your world-renowned points. It's a new currency or whatever that you get in the game. Yeah. You can incite a raid. You can say, hey, guys, you should go attack these other people over here. Ben Franklin over here is messing up real bad. You should go attack him. And next thing you know, you're sending the barbarians off to attack another civilization. That's really cool, and that adds a neat little element of strategy. You can also treat it exactly the way you've always treated barbarians, and you can just conquer it. But you can also become, I believe the correct pronunciation, but get ready if it's not, you can also become a suzerain of these settlements. And eventually you can even get them to join your civilization as a settlement and eventually a city, which I think is really cool because it's no longer working independent. You can actually bring them in and have them join your civ. So all that stuff, that system is amazing. I think the way they have modified workers to be part of city growth and city building, way better. I hated the 3-charge builder system. And instead of just giving infinite builders, I feel like they've put in a system in the game that is way better, and I like it a whole lot better. And then other things, they've de-emphasized religion, but it's still in there. And I feel like religion in the Civ games is a really weird mixed bag. They either go so hard on it that it feels like the kind of sub game. Like, it feels like its own mini game that you either get way into and that's the only way you play the game, or you go, ugh, I don't want to deal with this. Hopefully they don't win on a religious victory. I'm just going to ignore it. Or in this case, I feel like they've moved it too far into the background where it makes me instead kind of go, why is it there? It kind of is there just to provide certain perks that you can lean into and you can gain bonuses from if you decide to put time and effort into growing it. And it feels almost a little trivial. But I got to talk about some of the things I really don't like about the game.
Okay. I'm bracing for these because I'm nervous.
Number one is the age shifts when it moves to a new age. These are done extremely poorly. It's a cool idea because basically the philosophy behind it, you can tell, is everybody thinks the first chunk of a Civ game is really good, and most people think the middle and end chunks of a Civ game are not as interesting and not as compelling. So what if we divided a Civ game into thirds and tried to make each section its own interesting kind of compelling thing? The problem with it is that it acts as a hard reset in the middle of your game. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a war, doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a plague, and you probably will be. We'll get to that in a second. It doesn't matter what's going on. When you get to the end of the age, screen goes to a loading screen. You pick a new civilization to be going into the next era. And when it comes back, your units are gone. Some of them you keep, some of them you don't. Whatever you were working on is done. You're back in your own territory. Some of your cities might have gone back to being settlements. It's like a hard reset on your game. It's like all of a sudden somebody loaded an old save and it's like, well, this kind of looks like the game I was playing, but not really. And because you've changed your civilization on top of it, frequently your architecture looks different. The units you're using look different. Like, it's a jarring load. And it's made worse by a system called crises, which are in the game. I'm going to tell you my number one tip for this game. This game doesn't have a lot of customizable options, but I would recommend that anybody that plays a new game of Civ 7 turn crises off. Yeah, it is a neat idea. It is absolute garbage. So basically, at the end of any era, guaranteed, you are going to face a crisis of some sort. And it has its own little perks. In my case, it was plague broke out in my cities. And you're trying to fight a war because all of a sudden all the nations decided to declare war on you. And all of a sudden now you got a plague that's ruining tiles and killing units. And it's there mandatory because, hey, we're at the end of an age and that's how we're going to end every single age, which makes the hard cutoff of the age split even worse because the screen goes black and you're like, oh my God, freaking outbreak of the century is happening here. We're in the middle of the plague. And then it comes back and everything's fine and you're a new civilization. And it's like, well, okay, that's weird. So I respect and understand what they were trying to do, but it feels too jarring. And I think adding it on top of picking a new civilization, which is, again, a neat idea, but I think that it's a problem that feeds itself because it's like, I think it's cool that you pick your leader independent of your civilization. You know, big props to Harriet Tubman, leader of the Greek people.
I know, it's such a weird thing. I played, she was my first Civ, by the way. I used her, or my first leader, I should say, because it's not, you're no longer like, you don't start as the Americans. You pick a leader and then you pick your Civ and then it changes. It's very weird, that stuff.
I think that stuff is cool, but I think then changing your civilization in the middle on top of this weird hard age reset, on top of if you have the crises going, a crisis happening and then just ending, there's just these really jarring cuts. And it's not fun. I don't like it. It's just too much. I feel like all of a sudden I'm not playing the game that I was investing time into. And now it's like, okay, well, we just wiped the slate. Now play a new game. And while I will say that the middle and late eras are now more interesting than they were before as a result. It's not such a gain that I think it makes up for what you lose by it existing.
So it's their big change. It's the big innovation here. And what I'm hearing is that maybe it was misguided. Like maybe that wasn't such a great idea.
I don't think there's anything wrong with experimenting with it. I think this needed to be workshopped a little bit. And I don't think that they should throw up their hands and go, oh, we'll never do that again. I think there are cool ideas about it. And I think there's a cool philosophy behind it. I think in this game right now, as it stands, it is poorly executed.
Interesting.
And I don't think it's very well done. I think that my hope would be that they can figure out a way either between adding customizable options for the game or tweaking it. I hope they can make it better within this game. I hope it doesn't take a Civilization 8 experimenting with it further to do it right. But it feels half baked, and I don't like how it feels. And so I think that's the biggest hurdle. I can get into like all the min max of it and say like the way these buildings work and the way this foundation works and how these units work. Like there's a lot of little things like that are kind of tweakable. Another thing I really love about this game, combat is way better.
I agree.
In this game.
Combat feels real good.
I really like how combat feels in general. There have been some bugs with it that have been getting patched and fixed. I noticed some weird issues with naval combat for a while, but that was in a patch that just came out. I do like how the world map and all that looks. I have seen people criticize the readability of cities, and this is also true. This kind of goes back to the UI. So, for example, there are certain buildings. So you can stack buildings to a degree right now. Like in past Civilization games, it was like, I'm going to build this one thing on this one tile. Now you can build up to like 2 things on a tile. And there are some buildings where it's like, okay, well, these 2 buildings are unique to the Roman civilization, but you have to build them both on the same tile. And if you do that, it will form up and make a more powerful building. You'll get better bonuses and all of that. There is no indication of where you built that first building. So you have to sit there, and I'm like mousing over every single district because it isn't plainly evident where I should be building this. And that sort of thing is really frustrating. It's like I shouldn't be spending time doing this. This is unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mentioned last week you can't click a spot on the tech tree and it won't show you the quickest path to it if you want to do the tech tree. Also, because it's split into ages, there might be things you want to rush for, which is a way I used to play Civilization. I used to go for naval superiority as quickly as possible. If I ever had a civ that was, right by the ocean, that used to be a direction I liked to go.
Sure.
Or if I picked the archipelago map type, which is not in the game, I would lean very heavily on that and go that route. You can't rush that much anymore because you're contained within the age. You can rush for that age, but you're not going to be in a situation where you're going to be in big battleships fighting little wooden boats. Like that isn't going to happen. So there are limitations that come with it too. All in all though, the Civilization DNA is there. Like I've played, let me look. I've played a lot of time in this game. Some of it has been left idle, so I can't claim that this is all gameplay time, but I have 22.2 hours in this game.
That's pretty solid amount of time.
That's not nothing.
No.
I'm having fun, but there are also problems with this game. And I would say UI issues with the ages are probably the 2 biggest issues. One of them they've already talked about addressing. And the other one is right now, and this is one that they've said they're looking into, the customization options for a game are extremely small.
Yeah, very compared to previous games. It's like
shockingly
nothing.
small.
Yeah.
The largest map size you can pick in the game is standard.
Yeah.
It is not bigger than that. And I've always been the kind of person that, like, it's funny when you go to the game, it's like small is always what it defaults to, but then the next size up is called standard, and I always thought that was really weird. But yeah, you can't do a match larger than standard. The variety of map types are very low. A lot of map types that used to exist in the game aren't there. Like I said, crises are something you can toggle off. I toggle it off every time. I see someone in chat saying they find it interesting. I find it interesting in theory. Again, it's like the age system. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't think it's implemented in a way that I want to engage with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of like a thing that's guaranteed to happen, and there's not a way to respond to it. I've said a couple times when we've talked about Civ games coming up to this release and last week, I felt that the DLC of Civ VI made the game worse, and some of the things that included were disasters. I think
this was going to ask you: are disasters and crises in the new one? Is that the stand-in for that? Is that just they're in the game, and you cannot turn disasters off. Oh.
It defaults on low, and I think even on low, it is far too punishing.
I hate them. I hate disasters.
Isn't it important to running a Civ? Like, you guys have tornadoes and stuff. Stuff happens, right?
Yeah, but this is a John and Scott thing. Neither of us like this in any games. I hate natural disasters.
Right. I don't mind. Again, it's another thing where it's like, if done correctly, I don't mind. But it's not a case of like, oh, I want to build by a volcano. Let me go down this tech tree that's going to make that acceptable, which was easy to do in Civ 6, and I still didn't love disasters. Here, it's a lot harder to negate the problems.
Right.
And I'll tell you an example. Catherine the Great declared war on me. We had a big...
jerk. Yeah. Whoops, John went mute. Did everyone go mute? I lost everybody. Hold on. Why did they go mute? Okay, that's weird. Do anything. Let me just switch us to a different zone.
Maybe Discord had a natural disaster.
Yeah, probably did. It's funny you were talking about that right then. Okay, I'm moving us to Central. All right, that should
okay.
That should solve it. All right, so John, you were saying. Sorry.
So anyway, I had a war with Catherine the Great, and she decided to make peace, and for reasons I don't even understand, because it wasn't like I was really fighting her that much. She was mostly mad at my allies. I kind of went to war because I was friends with people she didn't like. She offered me a city. Issue number one with the UI, I had no idea what this city was. I had no idea what taking the city was going to offer, and I'm locked on the negotiation screen with no way to really review it. I could mouse over it for some cursory information, but I couldn't really go, oh, hey, I want to see what the city she's offering me is, because I had no idea what it was. So I was like, well, I don't really want to be at war, so I guess I'll take it, and I'll take this city. And she gave me a city that was completely surrounded by her territory. It was completely locked and isolated from the rest of the world, and it was between two volcanoes.
Oh, my.
One of those volcanoes was constantly going off. And when it wasn't the one, it was the other. And when that one wasn't going, and this is on low disaster mode. And
can you just raise your own city and get rid of it?
On one hand, it's funny because it is an interesting story. And I think one of the good things about a Civilization game is the stories that can come out of it. And this one is a funny one. But at the same time, if I'm playing low disaster mode and I have a city between two volcanoes, there should at least be a window where one of those volcanoes isn't going off. And it was just, all right, this one's off. And I'd buy the gold and repair the city, because it's not that much gold to repair it, but just had to do a gold sink to fix the city. And then next turn, oh, the other volcano went off. All right, spend the money. And it was just nonstop. So it's things like that that really drive me crazy about the game. And I I think are problems. And I think Civilization is at its best when it's the kind of game that you can go in with a plan, but then once you see the map you're on, the lay of the land, what your opponents are doing, there's enough options to feel reactive to what they're doing. And I think this game lacks enough options in that regard. I feel like this is a game that's very much like, now go in with your plan and just do what you're going to do. I don't feel like there's enough wiggle room to play super reactionary. And the game shouldn't only be reactionary. You should be able to go, oh, I want a wartime victory, or I want a diplomatic victory, or a science victory. You should be able to go in with a plan. But again, to me, it's about finding a balance. And I think this game currently lacks that from my time with it. I don't hate the game. I've seen a lot of people say like, this is the best case they've ever seen for a Steam like middle ground, like don't recommend, don't not recommend. And I kind of agree with that. I'm going to keep playing this game. I'm having fun with this game. It has the one more turn essential Civ DNA. But I think it's got a lot of problems that I hope they fix. Also, I don't know how conspiratorial to get with this, but I did watch someone else talk about this game, and they were showing a later save in their game, and their world map looked exactly the same as the one that I was in. Obviously, different civs in different positions, but I was like, those continents and the islands look exactly the same as the map I'm playing on. And I don't want to get super conspiratorial because I know there's randomness. There's literally a seed generator that you can type custom seeds into if you want to play on the same map. And you can share that with friends. That's cool. But also, it was just a little weird because I'm already a little down on the map options, and then seeing someone else with their map revealed and it looked exactly the same as mine, I was like, I don't like this.
You mean
I don't like this at all.
Yeah, the terrain and the layout and all that.
You're not talking about the fact that because they're in the future, they had like old ass buildings.
No, yeah, the terrain, like the shape of the continents, where the islands are in the in between them, all of that. So that concerned me a little, but as I play more games, I'll see if that consistently looks like the same map every single time, and we'll see. They did say they wanted to put more map types in the game, which is good because I do think that needs more options.
Yeah. For a series famous for having tons of options when you set up your game, it is weird to have so few. It's very odd.
Very few. Yeah. It's very, very few. Also, you can't name cities.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen commentary that it's like it feels like stuff streamlined for consoles. Do you get that feeling when you're playing on PC versus older versions?
I don't really feel that. I mean, I feel like stuff is definitely streamlined, but it doesn't feel like streamlined for consoles. It feels like streamlined for the sake of streamlined sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And it's
you think they need to make an entry that's more approachable? Like if you're someone that plays all the civs, you're looking for more complexity. But if you're like new to the Civilization franchise and someone's telling you to play part 7 of something,
I think there's a way to do both.
Okay.
I think there's a way to have depth that you can give people access to, but make it not necessarily mandatory to dive that deep into the systems to play it. And some of that comes down to their UI problems. Like, if they can better communicate things, but it's things like, it's little things like they're telling you to go down this legacy path, which gives you quests. So there's like quests in the game to do to progress your legacy down, if you want to do a culture victory or a science victory. And they give you these quests, and sometimes the quest will be, hey, research this policy, go down this road. But then the window to select your policy covers up the quest. So you're supposed to go, oh, right, my quest is to get to this. Well, okay, I got to close this window, see what the quest said I needed to take. Okay, reopen the window. Now let me see where it was that I was supposed to go. Okay, it's here. There's no way to just click it and say, get me here the fastest way possible, like there is in all the other Civ games. So let me scroll to the left. Okay, now this is the technology that I need to research. I'll go down this path. Like,
So the game's
it's
in
little
early
stuff like
access,
that. It's
basically.
not intuitive and could be better.
Yeah,
The game's in early access, basically.
It feels like that, yeah. Or if you're conspiratorial, you think that this is all going to come in the form of DLC, but hopefully a lot of this comes in the form of patches and fixes their shit, because it seems like things are kind of broken. It's not exactly right. It's not horrible.
I will say that if the fixes for these things come in the form of expansions, I think they're setting themselves up for a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's not right. Releasing a game that's less ideal, removing features, removing options, and then going, well, yeah, but you can pay for them.
The base game should be playable. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, and you know what? Actually, Rufus T. Cat, the merchant system for trade routes is awful. It's really bad. So if you want to set up a trade route, you have to create a merchant. Then they give you a UI system on the left that says, here's all the places that you can go to create a trade route with. And if you click it, it will take you to where that city is, or the city state. So you would think intuitively, okay, if I want to create a trade route with, let's say, Rome, there's Rome on the list. I click it, and then I click create trade route. Well, you click it, and it focuses on Rome, but the create trade route is grayed out, and you can't click it. Because what you have to do is, even though they give you a menu that says you can create a trade route here, you have to click it, find that city, right-click to move your merchant there, wait however many turns it takes for the merchant to go there, and then once the merchant arrives at that city, the button to create a trade route will no longer be grayed out, and then click create trade route.
That's pretty funky. That's why. I mean, I'm not saying everything gets caught before you release a game, but that seems like a broken ass feature to me.
Yeah, I just, that's what I mean when I say a lot of things feel half-baked. I feel like you're going to create a game where you're literally changing your civilization 3 times, and you don't think the ability to change the name of the city is important. That is common sense that should have been in this game before it released. Because you are going to go from all the cities that you're building having Roman names, to then all the cities having Spanish names, to then all the cities having American names. And you don't think the ability to rename your city is something that should be a feature in the game baseline. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it doesn't sell me that you guys played enough or tested this enough with enough people. It feels like this game didn't get play tested. And I think that's the biggest issue, because there's a lot of choices where it's like, well, this just doesn't feel good. And it feels like anybody who played this game would play it for a couple hours and go, this doesn't feel good. This needs to be fixed. And that stuff should have launched with the game.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Do your confidence pretty high that they can address all of this? It feels like stuff that's not that, shouldn't be that big a deal to fix, and in a few months we're playing a better version of 7?
I think that this is, I think all of this is fixable. I think I don't know enough about game development to go, oh yeah, they can fix 100% of this game. Could be fine. But most of the stuff I have issues with, I can see a path to it being better. Some of it is going to require more radical change of the game than others, but I think there is a good game that can come out of this for sure, because there's a lot of this game I really like.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. My very brief look and John's much more deep look.
A comprehensive look. I feel like I'm not going to buy it now.
Yeah, I think the takeaway might be
for trying the game.
Yeah, the takeaway might be people hold off if you want to wait for some of these fixes. It's not
for trying the game. I think I'll skip.
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. It'll still be there for you to get. When they improve it, you'll know it because everyone will talk about it. We'll talk about it here. Maybe. Let it.
Sorry, I will also mention. I saw Jocelyn say on Blue Sky that she has had constant crashes with the game.
Oh,
I will say I have had no technical issues with the game, but I guess worth noting that this is a problem that is being reported, so I've had 0 crashes, but I have heard some people talk about having crashes.
I had a massive, my very first run had a crash and I lost everything. It didn't do my save.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really annoying. But it was also kind of me poking around with systems, and I didn't mind starting over. It's like, that's how these games are. You're just ready to give it another spin. So it didn't bother me. But went and grabbed Harriet Tubman and led the Persians to victory. Potentially, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, more on that later as we get down the road with more Civ. Here is what I played whilst I wasn't playing that. I found a game this week that I swear they made for me. I swear this game was designed for me to own, to have, to hold, to cherish.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what it is. This is a game called Reality Break, and this is what this is. So I don't know if you ever played those. Is it Drox Operative? I think is what those two games are called, 1 and 2. Anyway, they're basically these top-down space games that are essentially Diablo in space. So quite literally, you're killing a bunch of mobs in space, other ships and stuff. They drop loot, or you find chests or whatever they are, like it's a capsule floating in space instead of a chest or whatever. But inside is a bunch of randomized loot, and the loot often has, affixes and things that are better than if you rolled a different way or whatever. Diablo in space. Think of it that way, except you're a ship, not a dude. Those games were cool, but they were a little janky around the edges. You could tell they, didn't have much in terms of a budget or maybe even an art team or anything like that. They were okay. This game comes out, this Reality Break, and even though it's listed as a roguelike or light, I would not call it that. I would call it more of a proper straight up action RPG in space, where preferably with a controller, because I think it just plays better. You can play with a mouse and keyboard, obviously, but you fly around in this world and you do missions and you take out stuff, kill things. There's story missions. There's also side missions. You die a lot, but you come right back and go in for more, like you would in Diablo or something. There's some hardcore settings that'll make it harder to do that if you want to play that kind of game. But what really sets this one apart is the graphics are insane. It looks amazing. It's one developer. I don't know how one person is making this game. It is clearly a labor of love, and also they have some serious art skills. So far, I think Reality Break is a top contender for my indie game of the year, and they would have to really blow it, or somebody else would have to really blow my mind in indies to take me off this cliff, because I think this is a rad game.
This looks cool.
Yeah. I mean,
I've wishlisted this. This looks good.
Yeah. You collect loot. Right now it's, 85%. It was at 90 yesterday.
Is it like an open world, or is it like levels?
Open world. So you can kind of go anywhere you want to. You can jump all around. When you first start it, they keep you on kind of a linear tutorial path, but things open up pretty quick. And there's a bunch of systems that are hard for me to explain. Like, there's a thing called rewriting, and I don't even know how to explain this, except sometimes you have loot that's like charged with like a special space magical thing, and you can use this option that says rewrite, but basically it's a talent tree, and it lets you just like kind of augment your run to let you do cooler things. So sometimes you'll find loot and you can use that rewrite ability and assign those points to stuff. It's a little abstract, so it kind of, I don't know. Others may glom onto it quicker. It took me forever to figure out how to use it. Other than that, pretty straightforward stuff. That's better loot. I can quickly see by looking at it. It's got green arrows going up. That means it's better. If I look closer, I can see why it's better. I can swap things in and out with ease. Like, if you have a mind for the Diablo flow of loot grind and action RPG, then this game is just right up your bum. I like it a lot, and I am super stoked to keep playing it. So Reality Break is the game. It plays great on Steam Deck, plays great on PC. No issues. I don't know where else this is coming. Right now it's PC only, I think. And awesome game. Big recommendation for Reality Break. Love it a lot. And I think it's only, let's see, is it early access? Hold on. Oh, I lost my mouse.
It was in full release when I went to this.
Yeah, I didn't see the early access tag on it when
Maybe
I pulled it
not.
up.
I lost my mouse completely. What happened to my mouse?
Maybe the cat ate it.
Why do I have no mouse? I have nothing. Hold on.
I don't see anything suggesting early access.
All right, let's see. Can I figure out why?
It's like it's on an introductory offer right now for a discount.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. For some reason, I lost my mouse, and my mouse is freaking out. What the hell happened?
And there's a bundle.
There's a bundle?
You can get it even cheaper if you already own... I don't know what the game that I already own is. Star Valor, I apparently already own.
You already own that? Whatever that is?
Yeah, Star Valor. That's a game I wish I was playing more.
I wish.
It's like the game you just described, but it's not Diablo style. It's just a space top-down mission game.
I'm going to see if I can't get this to switch. Sorry, I have 0 mouse function right now, and I don't know why, and it's going to make my...
Yeah, if you already own Star Valor, you can get it for $19.12 because of the bundle discount. So
what a deal!
That's good.
Anyway, that's
my favorite thing that Steam does, by the way. Just as a little hack, if you didn't already know this. I assumed most people knew this, but I actually saw a video of someone discovering this. If they bundle a game that you already have, and you buy that bundle, you will get that single game for cheaper than you would for its regular discounted price. So, for example, if I were to buy this game right now, it would be $22.49 by itself. But if I buy the Space ARPG bundle, where I already own one of the games, I'm buying this single game for $19.12 because I still get the bundle discount of the collected price of the game. There's a little hack for Steam. If you don't know it, look for them bundles.
Yeah, look for them bundles.
It's a really good way to get a bigger discount on a game.
I bought some strategy turn-based things last night using that trick. I'd seen the price. It says $4 or something. I'm like, normally 19. I'm like, how is this possible? I go into the game. It still says 19. But you scroll down and you see part of this bundle, and it's got this huge discount. And I got that game plus like 4 others in the similar genre for $4.99. For this $20 game, plus I got all these other games. It was great. Yeah, use that trick. It's fantastic. When you can find them. What else? I played some of that Rift of the Necrodancer, just the demo. I played a bunch. That's pretty cool. Seems neat.
Yeah. It looks cool. It looks difficult.
Yeah, I would argue that I don't know how to describe it. It's very hard. It is actually very hard. And by looking at it, you're like, that looks like Guitar Hero without the guitar. Do I really want to play that? It really isn't that. I mean, the things coming at you is very Guitar Hero-like, but it really is just about, all right, hit the up arrow on this creature to kill it, but this creature that looks like them, but they're red, you got to do that twice, and when you do it, it bumps them to the other lane, and in that lane, you got to hit left to kill them, so you've hurt them with up, kill them with left. And then another guy will come who you'll hit with left. He'll bounce all the way over to right. You'll hit him there. He'll bounce to the middle, and then you can kill him. And then after that, a bunch of skeletons you just kill with one hit come down that rope or come down that path. Like, it's complicated. And it's going to require some serious hand-eye coordination. And I really liked what I played. I can see why people are enjoying it. It's got a very good review right now. I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger, which is why I played the demo. But I played enough to think that they're actually onto something here. It's pretty neat.
I was actually worried it was going to be too simple when I saw it the first time, because I was like, this might be for me because I'm terrible at games like Guitar Hero, but it only had 3 tracks. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, I can press 3 buttons in sequence. I can manage that. And then I saw that, the enemies have mechanics. Mm-hmm. And I watched somebody play one of the more complicated songs on a high difficulty. And it's not only do enemies have mechanics where it's like, you got to hold for this one. You got to hit this one twice. This one rushes you, so they come at you faster. They even include things where it's like, there's a warp in the battlefield, and when things hit the warp, they're going to teleport to a different lane when they come down, and you have to keep an eye on where they're going to teleport to. So they found a lot of ways to take what almost seems like a simplification of the genre, because it's just 3 tracks you got to monitor, and they've made it really challenging. They have also given you a lot of health pickups to keep you in the match, so there are ways to heal and catch up. So it kind of helps and hinders in both ways. But yeah, I was surprised at the depth that this goes to.
Yeah.
It
really
is
not
just press the button when the thing gets there and you're game over.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot more like the Crypt of the Necrodancer than you would think, because you have these patterns with certain creatures that it's not as simple. Even in the original one, you only can attack them from the side, and you can only do it on beat. And if you don't, then you're going to get hurt, or it's going to turn, and then you can't hurt it because now it's not it's facing you instead of you facing it by the side or the back. So there's a lot of that in this, and it really works. It's like kind of crazy how well it works. I may end up picking it up.
Are you using controller with this or playing on the keyboard?
I did controller, but I'm sure keyboard's fine.
How do you press like up and left at the same time?
Just like hit A and there's no, as far as I know, there's no simultaneous. How did I do that? Was it with the stick? I can't remember now.
Watching it.
Scott's like, I played this. How did I do it?
Well,
I'm like watching it, and like sometimes there's two monsters, one on the left and right track, and they seem to be hitting them at the same time.
no, that's a good point. How was I doing that? I can't remember if it was dual stick or how I did that.
You use the sticks or the buttons? Like it looks like there's arrows, so it looks like it sticks. But how do you press like on a D-pad?
Can you do both? Is like right also B or something like that?
That
like,
may have been it. It felt very intuitive, and when it kicked off, I was so like, "Oh shit, let's go!" that I don't honestly remember how I played that. I know that sounds weird, but I don't remember.
Like I played the game, but I have no memory of how.
I played quite a bit of it.
That's good. That means the game's intuitive because you didn't have to figure it out.
Yeah, it's very intuitive, and it actually said at the beginning it wanted me to calibrate for controllers. Like we highly recommend controller for this, and so it wasn't even, I was like, okay, cool. And it did that thing that Rift did, or this is Rift. Crypt, where they make you collaborate it, or not collaborate it. So calibrate is the word I'm looking for.
Calibrate it.
Yeah, so you do like a little timing thing, and you make sure you're hitting the stuff, and there's no lag. It figures out what the millisecond lag is on your controllers, if it's wireless, if it's wired, that kind of stuff. And it just worked. So I can't tell you how I did those simultaneously, Bo, but I know I did because there was lots of stuff that was simultaneous.
Yeah. Well, thanks for clearing it up for me.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it must have been, hold on, I got it right here. It must have been like, yeah, it had to have been arrow keys for this thumb and AX, AB over here. It must have been. Or did I use
maybe
triggers?
A hybrid of both. You can use buttons or D-pad.
Look at this. My marshmallow colored controller, you want to lick it? Look at that.
Yeah, it looks yummy.
Yeah. That's why I got it. And it was cheap.
That's weird. You have two num-nums this episode.
Yeah. Twice we got Scott to make that sound.
Finally, I played a ton more of Death Must Die. I wanted to catch up with where that team is on that game. And man, for my dollar for dollar, pound for pound, Death Must Die, I think, is the best one of these that isn't. If you're a purist and you can only play Vampire Survivors and it's the ultimate, it's the only thing you'll ever want to play. And I'm not pointing at John. I'm just saying in general, people out there who just think that's the end
you're
all.
saying that because of John, because,
maybe a little. But John,
it is absolutely the best one, but I love Death Must Die. You will not hear me speak an ill word about Death Must Die. That game is
It's
fantastic.
Very good, and it's still good, and they've added nothing but great new stuff. They're adding some quality of life stuff to how you manage inventory, which I wasn't killing the game, but it's definitely needed, so they're definitely listening to people. It's still in early access, but man, it's tighter than ever. I've unlocked, 8 character types, and they're all very different and interesting, and it's a rad game, so I played a ton of that just because. Nothing new there. So again, Reality Break, Rift of the Necrodancer, and Death Must Die, in addition to a little Civ 7. John, you've been just all in on the No Man's Sky. What's going on over there?
Yeah, I'm the rest of my games. I apologize for taking so long with Civ 7, but we'll make up for it with how quick I'll talk about the other things I played.
Sure.
This reporting was needed, dude.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
No Man's Sky has been getting a lot of time for me, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I still like No Man's Sky. There's just something about this past update. Like, the game looks so good. It's even getting me more excited for Light No Fire, because I know that new water tech is from the game, and it's not Sea of Thieves, but it's close. It's similar. Like, there was a big storm and here's waves sending my, spaceship rocking up and down. And I will also say another thing that's really done it a lot of favors is my son has been watching me play, and he's been into it. He's like, Dad, get that tree. He's apparently big into deforestation because he wants me to just shoot down every single tree that I see. But, he gets so excited about elements of it. And he's telling me what to do. And I let him play Spyro, which actually should have been on here. I did play the Spyro trilogy remake.
Big fan.
I played a lot of that.
Yeah,
and I let him play it. He thinks the best thing is to just make Spyro die in water.
Oh, jeez.
Also another thing I might need to look into. He's like, Dad, make him go in the water. I was like, I don't think he liked the water. He's like, make him go in the water. Okay. He drowned again. We'll go back. He calls all the green bad guys in Spyro Bowser.
Oh.
Which is also very cute. He's like, we got to get the Bowser.
That's great.
And I'm like, okay, we'll get him. But I let him play No Man's Sky a little bit, and I can confirm I don't suffer from motion sickness, because if I did, I would know with how he flies a spaceship. It's like basically doing giant loop-de-loops through the sky. But he just gets so excited about it. He's like, let's go to space. All right, we're in space. We in space? Yeah, we're in space. Okay, let's go to the planet. All right, we're back on the planet. Land. Okay, we landed. Let's go to space. Okay. Like, he's just loving it. And then it immediately goes back into, playing in the real world, where I'll pick him up and I'll be like, I got you. And he's like, be a spaceship. Okay, we'll be a spaceship.
Well, and you're a kid. So imagine if you're a kid and this was presented to you. It'd be insane, this game.
I know. He's digging it. So cool. And that's the other thing, is it's cool that it's a game where everything he tells me to do, I can do in it. Because that's certainly not the case with other games that he has seen me play, where I'll be playing a game. He's like, go cut down that tree. It's like, this isn't a game where you can do that. You have to tell him, like, okay, there's limitations here. But playing No Man's Sky, he's just like, go to space. All right, we'll go.
Yeah.
Destroy that tree. We can dig a hole. All right. We dug a hole. Like, all of that is stuff we can do. And so he's been really enjoying that, and that's made me love that game, a ton too. So that's been a lot of fun to play with him. And he will ask, he's like, can we play the spaceship game? And I'm like, yeah, we can go and play the spaceship game.
That's great. He pick up the controls well and all that stuff. Pretty intuitive.
I mean, he's so small. Like, he's still such a tiny little guy. He can't really hold the controller yet.
Yeah.
His hands are he can't. He's like Rex in Toy Story 2. He can't press this side of the controller and this side of the controller at the same time. So, but he doesn't want to share. Like, anytime Dad offers to help him fly, it's like, no. And he got really mad that Dad wanted to take care of the pirates about to blow up his ship for him. But we're figuring it out.
Cool.
I just need to remember to dump my valuables before I let him fly the ship.
Nice.
It's very independent.
Sure.
Yeah, he's like, no, I will fight them. I'm like, you can't fly and shoot at the same time. You can barely fly. You need to let Dad fight the pirates. Yeah, No Man's Sky and Civ have been taking up most of my time. I'm still checking in with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I got to a hub area, so it's a lot of playing Queen's Blood and talking to people and going to shops and all of that. So it's a bit of a lull, and as a result, it's been easier to play the other things that I'm going a little more into, but I'm still really enjoying the journey in Rebirth and playing a lot of that. And even though it wasn't mentioned here, I'm playing the Spyro the Dragon trilogy, because when it comes to just sitting down and playing a video game, that really ticks those boxes.
Oh yeah, to collect those gems and get the F out. It's great.
Yeah, it's like going to a stage. It's small, manageable, pick up gems, release dragons. We'll tell you when you have all the gems. We'll tell you when you have all the dragons. Get out.
Get out. Like, there may be a little bit. I like when the dragon talks to you and goes, "Hey, Spyro, thanks a lot." Brr, 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 brr. And you're like, "Yeah, man, look what I'm doing. Good work here." And it's beautiful. That recreation. That's a sexy game. It's a beautiful game.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like there are two things you do: you charge or you breathe fire. And then, you jump and glide. Like, it is not complicated. You just get in, you just go do what you got to do, and then you go out and you do something else. Like, it's just play a little bit of a video game is what it feels like. I've been playing it on Steam Deck, been playing it on my computer, and it's awesome.
Yeah, smooth as pie too, that thing. How about Final Fantasy Rebirth? Or did you already mention?
Oh, I already talked about it. That's what I played. So.
All right, well, there you have it. Beau, tell us all about your Overwatch time this week.
I mean, we talked a lot about Overwatch today. I don't feel the need to really, dive in too hard.
I will let you talk about it, Beau. I'm not gonna.
No, it's
yell
not.
at you for it.
Thank you, but it's actually not for that reason. It's just what's there to say that hasn't been said? The new heroes in the game I do enjoy, right? Mauga and Juno and Kiriko and
Man, I'm behind. I don't know any of those names.
yeah, Hazard's a new hero they added too. He's pretty cool. Like, there's a ton of new heroes in there, and they're I've had a chance to try them all out and had a good time with them. It's fun. Like, I've already done the battle pass stuff. That's what got me hooked into it. I wanted the Ash's gun, but I haven't been done the battle pass for a while, and I just keep playing. So it's
You still kind of a main for her, for Ash?
no, I've been like so I don't really have a main, as you know. I kind of play it the same way I play heroes. Like, I just play whatever. I don't really get super attached that I can't play other heroes. I usually try to win. So, in quick match, I'm counter picking all the time, and I'll take reliable heroes. But I do still like to play Zenyatta a lot. I think he's awesome. And Soldier 76 is pretty just. He's all reliable.
Yeah.
Well, just if people decide they're going to play Echoes and Pharahs, yes, there's like you can play Cassidy or Ash to snipe them out of the sky, but it's spamming attacks is always super reliable. So I don't know. I mix it up. I pretty much played all the heroes at some point.
Nice.
Just to get a feel for them.
Still dominating noobs. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, like so like after the show last week, it's like, I still feel like playing Overwatch, and it's like every time I go to play another game, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to log into Overwatch and play some matches. So I think I've played a ton. Like, it really is a lot. But I think now with the new season coming really soon, and with WoW Retail hitting a new season real soon, I might try to take a break next week and focus on some other stuff.
Sure.
So we'll see.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck on that.
I played a ton of it. It's still a game. It's fun. It's out there. Congratulations, Blizzard, on your game.
Tell me about Soulframe. I didn't even think this was out yet. Is it out?
Oh, it's not out. It's in early access. Tweep in our community, who may or may not work for digital
Yeah.
has been pinging me about the game and keeping me in touch. So there's this Preludes event, which I don't know that it's NDA restricted. So anyways, I just want to let you guys know I got codes, and I sent you both codes in the Discord. So if you want to get in.
So I also got codes from Tweet, but I don't know if they're the same codes. We'll
I don't know. I
got a code from somebody else.
Oh,
The Discord name is different.
Well, I thought I'd send them to you, but anyways, it's out there. So if you want to try, I haven't played it yet, but I've installed it, so I'm gonna
heard cool things.
Yeah, I
got
to get it
Soulframe.
installed. I set up my account, but I haven't installed it yet. It's just been
I just wanted to mention
a crazy
that
month for games.
before I forgot and got off the call. This isn't really a game I played. Like, I literally all I played was Soulframe. I played like 20 minutes of Valheim with Mike, and because he can't wait. He can't hold on to it anymore. I'm like, 1.0, it should be out this year, but he loves Valheim so much. He's just like,
I love that that's his game. Like, he found it. Like, he found his love.
Yeah, like that's his. Yeah, I mean, there's just something so wonderful about building a cabin in that game and building more cabins and having like tons of territory with which to do that.
No, that's freaking great.
Yeah, and like player housing, like this is like the ultimate player housing game. Like that's half of what you do is go new places and build housing so you're protected from the elements.
One of my favorite things about Soulframe is they have their own Discord icon they made, and it's just like a moldy rock shaped like a Discord icon. I love that. Look how cool that is.
That is pretty cool, actually.
It looks like it'd be a cool mask.
Yeah. Or you have it just have your own on a desk. I would love that. Not saying you have to make it. The other thing too is
we do have the multiplayer server for V Rising up now for a multiplayer game, but there's not much to tell. We just started.
Oh, nice! I didn't know you'd done that already. That's cool.
Yeah, well, now that Baldur's Gate's over, we're starting up V Rising. If you guys want in on the multiplayer server, it's up and running.
How much can those hold? How many people?
Mine, because I didn't want to pay a ton. I just set it up for 10. I think it's 10 player.
Okay. That should be plenty.
That's 10 concurrents. You can actually technically have more players, but we're just really just multiplayer. It's PvP turned off kind of deal. No, you can also slow castle degradation down, Scott.
Oh, I like that.
That's nice.
To a crawl.
I did that on my single player game, but I don't know how. I assume the server's just as tweakable.
Yeah,
right?
I can set up the server rules to do it. It's currently not implemented. I just did it in my single player game, but I am going to implement it probably for our game because, like, right now I have like 1,000 blood in my Castle Heart, and it's like, well, this will last 5 days, and it's like, well, I might not play for 7. Like, come on, man, what is this mechanic? Like, see, I think it makes sense in a PvP realm where maybe you're having hundreds of players, which is possible to get up to 60 concurrents on a server.
Yeah,
which is kind of nuts.
That's wild.
So I get it. You want to rot the castle so that real estate comes free from inactives. Makes sense, but you don't. It's not a use case for many people.
No.
So
I hate that part of the game, so I'm always happy to turn it off.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I completely understand why it's there, but that was definitely one of the detractors that got me out of it, was for that exact reason, because nothing makes me want to log into your game less than saying, well, you have to log in within this amount of time. I'm like, what if I just don't then?
How about I don't?
Yeah, same.
I love that. All right. Well, more on that as we know it. A quick note that we are supported entirely by the good graces of our audience at patreon.com/core show. Big thanks to everybody who helps us out over there. Like regulars, Morning Wood. Mourning like I'm mourning the death of somebody. Morning Wood.
Maybe they're mourning the death of their wood.
Could be. Do that every day at
or
8:30.
maybe it's just a sad boner.
Could be a sad boner. Never thought of it that way.
Never thought of it.
Could be a sad boner, as the kids say.
Isn't a sad boner just a penis?
Yes. It's a flaccid.
Are you saying they're like a flaccid penis? Those are all sad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I don't know. I think some of them probably have some personality. Like I wouldn't say. I wouldn't assume all flaccid penises are necessarily sad.
I'm just glad that we were able to end the show.
But are all sad boners penises?
Oh my gosh. If all penises are sad, then no penises
what
are
about
sad.
Is there ever a time where?
boners?
Okay, I maybe don't need to overthink this, but I'm just thinking, like, if it's a sad boner,
Yeah.
there's no way it's just like up and righteous, right?
No.
Like it would have to be down.
I'm sorry, righteous? Is
So
that a
while
way?
I agree, any flaccid penis doesn't necessarily have to be sad. I would think any sad boner would be flaccid.
Yeah. I hadn't heard the term righteous. I like that.
Yeah, I understand why you're saying that. I think it probably makes sense. Like,
John's going to
it's
have
like
to
being
explain.
sad at a party or something like
Sure.
that. Like you should go home.
You're moping in the corner. You're moping.
Yeah.
You're a moping
Probably
penis.
not. You probably don't have the right vibe for a boner right now.
No.
It's just,
You're not righteous.
another-
You don't have a
another day.
righteous status. Is
Another
not
day.
righteous.
God, there is a very decent chance that my wife has the show on right now in the car. And I really need to think about these things before I start these asides.
Especially with me, dude. I try not to bring these things up, but you say the word penis, and I'll go to town.
Yeah, Bo will take it from there. He'll take your baton and round the corner, if you know what I mean. All right. Well, anyway. I forgot to mention Jeff May and Georgie B. They're also part of the 3 regulars I wanted to mention today, who get no commercials ever, pre-show content every week, and they also get monthly benefits. I just put some artwork up today, some video game related art that'll come to some of you in the mail. How do you sign up? Frogpants.com. Sorry, Patreon.com/core show. Or you can go to frogpants.com/core. All other stuff is there. All right, we have a tradition here on the show where we hand Grandma the microphone and we let her tell everybody what we played, just in case you forgot. Grandma, take it away.
And I know that conversation at the end probably threw you for a loop and you forgot everything that came before. So here's what it was. Civilization VII, they talked about that for about as long as a game of Civilization. Then there's also Reality Break, Rift of the Necrodancer, Death Must Die, No Man's Sky, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Spyro the Reignited Trilogy, Overwatch, and they mentioned Soulframe.
We did. We may mention it
Don't
more.
forget Kid Icarus, Grandma.
Oh, yeah, Kid Icarus. Well, that was just part of your contest. So usually I don't bring those
Well,
up.
That was
wanna
Martha
know.
content.
Yeah. Martha content gets
And the answer
maybe
to
it doesn't-
today's riddle was Kid
Kid
Icarus.
Icarus. Write that down. Kid Icarus. All right, everybody. Before we fly too close to our flames, we're going to take off. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for all being here. We'll be back next week with more Core, so please tune in then. We record live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Sorry, that's no longer true. We record Thursdays at noon Mountain Time. Although we have a daylight savings thing coming up, and it may tweak things. I don't know what it'll do, but we're going to figure it out. John will let me know what it does to his time zone. I can't remember. Do you remember?
It does nothing to my time zone, but for some reason it messes with everybody else's and somehow makes me the problem.
Well, that's a good point. The rest of us need to get on board and do what they're doing, which rumors are right now that might happen, and that would be really great. But for now, if it changes, we'll let you guys know with plenty of notice. But we look forward to seeing you all then. Please come join us live or check out the show wherever you get it. Tell your friends, leave us reviews. All that stuff helps. That'll do it for us. For me, for Beau, for John. We'll see you next time.
Once upon a time, there was a hero named you. Find the next step of your quest at frogpants.com.
I do really like Putrid Bile a lot.